Okay.
I don't get why Babylon B writes articles because their headlines it just shows the entire. It just reveals the entire joke.
Yeah, you know this place is going to hell when the Babylon Bee actually starts writing true shit, even though they're a parody site.
Yeah, same with
Babylon B has been writing true shit for about like
Ever.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
It's been 3 or 4 years of like them saying like, "Oh, this is satire," but it's just like, I don't know, man. This is kind of sort of the truth.
Well, welcome back everyone to Versa Real News here. We had a nice cold open there with Babylon B. But I do agree with what you guys are saying. That I have to admit they are probably one of the funniest satire sites out there. Way funnier than The Onion.
Yeah.
The Onion used to be good back in the day.
Oh yeah, I remember when it used to be a big deal.
Well,
political.
The problem is like the left has stripped everything that makes the comedy funny because of all the social justice shit. Like they've stripped it of everything that makes it funny, and now it's like you got a lot of these comedians that are going to the right. Like they're going to the right, and
No, it's not actually. It's not even. Actually, wait.
Well, I think there's also a lot too that just they're getting. I don't want to because some are going to the right and some are just becoming politically. I won't say deserted, but they're lost. They don't have a place to go. I forget what the word is for that. I'm slipping tonight.
I disagree with the social justice thing. That's what's killing like left-wing comedy. I think they live in a world. They live in a world so ridiculous that like absurdity is just It's just an everyday part of their life and ideology. So.
Well, let me give you a quick anecdote, actually, of something happened to me recently, because I was just away on vacation. That's why we weren't streaming last week. But I was in Maine, and you would think New England, it's this hyper-leftist part of the country, which in many ways it kind of is. But Trump didn't lose Maine in 2016 by much, and he actually won one of the counties or districts that they split off. It's very weird how it works. And I was predicting he'd win 20, and who knows what he would won or didn't win. But when you go through Maine, it's like it's really like Pennsylvania. But I think it's more extreme. And what I mean by that is when you were in the rural areas, it's hyper Trump. And one thing I noticed I noticed this in PA, driving through Lancaster where I used to work on the campaign. But in Maine, it was remarkable because people still had their Trump signs up. People still had their Trump gear on. I saw people jogging with Trump hats on. Trump signs everywhere. And I thought to myself, there has never been a candidate that lost, at least in modern times, and people still lost, quote unquote. We all know how I feel about it, truthfully. And people still keep the signs up, the bumper stickers on, the paraphernalia up, still wearing the hats. And that just shows the power of Trump. And now this is bigger than anything else. It's a once-in-a-lifetime sensation. And it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. But when you get into the city parts, there's actually, there's some Trump stuff like right at the edge of the city. But when you're in the core of the city, I was in Bangor, Maine. It's kind of this, I don't want to say it's a dumpy town, but it's a small-ish city that's kind of in the middle of nowhere-ish. Because Maine's kind of separated by a lot of rural or just nothingness. It's kind of like PA, but it's more foresty. And in this town, I am not kidding you, I've been to San Francisco, and I think this town was gayer than San Francisco. They had, and maybe San Francisco's, gotten gayer, but like they're making a run for their money because they had.
Look, I've been to San Francisco quite a few times. Now,
what are you doing there?
What were you doing there?
I was born in Fresno, but anyway.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, but it was what it used to be one of my favorite cities in terms of restaurants, like restaurants. It used to be which thank you, thank you,
The gay
thank
people
you,
do love their
Democrats, for
food.
ruining that shit. But yeah, what were you saying, Alex?
The gay people do love their food. I give them that.
No, see,
No, actually,
okay.
Disavow.
So
my brother
here's
was
the
telling
thing.
me when he was
Here's
in
the
high
thing: when
school-
you go to San Francisco, it's
Yeah.
it's actually not gay until you hit the Castro district.
Yeah.
Once you go by the Castro
Oh, yeah.
district, that's when you start seeing.
Well, and there's that
all
one street too that's like
all
ultra
kinds of crazy
gay.
shit.
It's notorious
Yeah.
for being gay. But
Well,
this
that's Castro.
town in
It's funny you
Maine.
brought. It's funny you brought up the word Castro.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll get into that. That is
Yeah, we
a
can get into
lot
that
to
too,
unpack.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll just wrap this up quickly, which is that this like town in Maine, dude, they had the freaking every store, every barrier, those like concrete barriers for cars, highway barriers that were in town, they were painted with the not just the regular pride flag, that was nowhere to be seen. The new progressive pride flag with the
Zimbabwe
chevron.
pride flag.
The what?
The Zimbabwe one.
Yeah, the Zimbabwe ultra progressive pride flag.
Wait,
They've gotten rid of the
hold
conservative
up,
pride
hold-
flag, and this
hold
one
up,
was
hold up.
everywhere.
Hold up, you mean to tell me that there's a new gay pride?
Oh man,
Flag?
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, come on, it's 2021. Get with it. That's the old flag is the conservative pride flag. This is the new progressive pride flag that includes
Sam, you're a
trans
fucking
and brown
phobe
people.
now.
Look,
Yeah, what are you, a
look,
boomer, Sam?
I didn't know that being black is now a sexual disability. Whatever they want to call it.
Disability.
Yeah.
No, it's bad. No, it's so bad there that I'm like, I'm like, I see why people are homophobic because this is in your face pervasively, like every
Yeah.
store, even on they had the flag, the new one, and every one of those, like I said, the concrete barriers, it had painted on it. It's almost freaking August, and they're still having them up. Pride Month never ends there. But it's small anecdote, but I'm just trying to prove a point, which is that some parts of the country are like this.
I was homophobic before it was cool.
Oh, disavow. I
So-
disavow you.
I mean,
Everyone knows me.
I mean, according to the new definition, I've always been homophobic, which is I don't really care, but
Well, what's the new definition? Like, you won't fuck a tranny?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
sucking a
pretty- yeah,
tranny
pretty-
dick. Now you're a homophobe.
yeah, pretty much.
I thought you
pretty much.
joked. That's why the
I'm
super
sorry.
straight thing was a thing.
Suck
There-
my feminine penis.
I mean, part of the reason why I bring up shit so much on the show and why I love, busting ones on is just to, just to counteract some of this shit. They want us to lean into their stuff. I say let's go the opposite way. I'm for liquor, guns, bullets, and tits.
So you're going full libertarian.
I mean,
Liquor, gun, beer, and titties. Yee!
I mean,
have we discussed? Has the Brandy Love discussion been started yet?
We had a brief bit on that, but not on our
we
stream.
Yeah, I've been on that. But yeah, it's.
I am curious to hear Phil's take.
Yeah, actually I am too, because Phil is more of a porn aficionado. If you know what I mean?
So
His
you know
friend
what's
put
funny?
up-
You know what's funny?
Yes.
Because I did talk to my friend about it
Oh
too.
my
I was like, I totally did, man. The second I was talking about it on Twitter, I'm like, dude, what do you think, man?
You
And
didn't
he's
have to
like-
talk like
and
name
he
drop, or you
was
just had to
like-
say, "What do you think?"
And he
knew.
knows, like he knows. He like it's almost like he studies these porn stars. Like he studies
Yeah.
the porn stars. He knows what websites they're on. He knows what just everything. And he basically was like, hey, so
He needs
she's at the
some
point.
Jesus.
She's at the point now where she has to do something completely different because every porn category that she's already done has completely kind of worn itself out. Like
Wow.
once she's gotten to the point where he was like, so there, right at about the end of your porn career, right? You start doing like the stepmom porn, and then
Well, that's when
like
you start
right,
doing like the interracial gangbang.
right, and then so so that's what it is. And you nailed it, Alex. So it's step porn, it's stepmom porn, then you get blacked, and then it's like you got your own. You got your OnlyFans-ish thing, because like nobody else is gonna hire you anymore.
I thought
And
you
then
start out
that's
at
it.
OnlyFans, like
Yeah.
that's usually the way you get into porn.
So
And
yeah,
then you start to do the degrading shit.
Yeah, isn't that the gateway drug into porn now? It's
no.
fucking OnlyFans.
So it is, but it's also an exit drug. So it's also an exit game for like the older ones.
Oh, I
So, like,
see.
yeah.
I see.
So that's like, she's worn out all of her ticket, and now it's like, now she's doing that. But it was interesting. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty interesting perspective there. And yeah, like, and then for shits and giggles, I went on Pornhub and I typed Brandy Love, and the very first thing that popped up was stepmom porn and blacked porn. I'm like, oh my god.
I thought it was gonna be like Brandy Love fucks Charlie Kirk in the ass or something.
Okay, but I'm just wondering, what is conservative about her? I don't understand.
Well, I
it.
guess the libertarian side, because what isn't
Yeah.
technically Turning Point like free market shit? They're not
Turning
social
Point
conservative.
identifies as conservative in their advertising and marketing, but they started out more libertarian. I would say that their makeup is more conservative, and what they preach, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Are you sure Point USA is even libertarian? Because they do a
No.
lot.
They're
They do
supposed to be.
a lot of shilling
Let
for
me-
spending money to sending money overseas to Israel, which I don't know.
Well,
I don't know any discipline.
That's very
libertarian.
conservative, actually, when you think about it. But
Yeah, that's
I
very
think,
conservative.
well, I think there's a big difference, and this is what I was trying to say in some tweets with Sam, was Brandy Love, I'm going to, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to assume she's registered Republican. She's a Republican porn star. She's not a conservative porn star. Because one distinction that people kind of forget to make, and it sounds like nothing, but it is a big deal, is conservative is an ideology. Republican is a political affiliation, a political party. Trump was not a conservative, but he was a Republican, and he used the Republican Party to bring populism and nationalism into the mainstream. A libertarian could do the same thing, except that they're too stupid and autistic to actually do anything successful. But you get my point,
I mean,
is that the party is
wait.
not
That's
like
a lie.
beholden
Wait,
to
wait,
one
wait.
ideology.
Wait. Let me backtrack on that. Anytime a libertarian has tried to, run with the every time a libertarian has tried to run with the Republican Party, they have exiled them.
well,
like,
no,
Ron-
look-
No, the
look
voters
at
vote for them in the
Ron Paul,
primaries. Nobody likes them. They have their
Oh,
chance in the
Ron Paul-
primaries, and they fail. They simply fail.
We're very popular, but they kind of got fucked over by their own party because because the Republicans did not like them.
Trump got fucked by the party, but he won.
So when you bring up a good thing with Israel, right? Because we always talked about, and we can segue this into something something relevant too. So the Israel thing, the part of the reason that we do the foreign aid with Israel is basically we do the our anti-ballistics, a lot of our anti-ballistics and a lot of our military tech testing over there in Israel, because we can't do most of the testing we can't do in the United States, like for some of the extreme stuff, right? But since Israel and Palestine have been at war for like thousands of years, that's like the perfect breeding ground to do testing and stuff, right? That's why the Iron Dome is like fucking amazing, right? But anyway, you know another branch of our government does the same thing. That would be Dr. Fauci and the NIH and doing that shit with the Wuhan lab, right? Since because here's what happened, right? So going to the Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci thing, right? So Obama banned, I guess he banned gain of function research in the United States.
Yep.
So what Dr. Fauci and the NIH did is they set up shop in the Wuhan lab of our Institute of Virology to basically circumvent. Oh, well, we can't do it in the U.S. We'll do it in China, right? And so that's where a lot of the Rand Paul and the Dr. Fauci stuff is at a crux right now, because the Dr. Fauci had, I guess he granted via the NIH, he granted, he gave grants to corporations that worked over there with the Wuhan lab of virology, which and they're debating whether that was connected with COVID-19 in any way, which of course Dr. Fauci is doing nothing but legal talk. So we're probably never going to get the answer. And of course,
I don't even think he's not even doing legal talk. Like when Rand Paul brought shit up, he's just like, you know what you're talking about, but I'm not going to explain myself.
Yeah.
Well, that moment though, honestly, I'm no Rand Paul fanboy, but he's the only one that's actually holding Dr. Fauci accountable and might actually take him down.
Wasn't
Because
he also the only one who talked about like the transgender bullshit? Like
with Levine, yeah, he has some good moments.
He's probably the only one. He's probably the only one who can, because he's a doctor.
Yeah.
He's treated patients and he's survived COVID. So like,
he's an expert.
Yeah.
Well, surviving COVID is not a miracle.
Dude,
No.
It's really.
If you're a healthy
but-
person, yes.
Yeah.
If you're old, fat, and have like 50 million problems, yeah, it could be a miracle.
Well,
I don't know,
it
man.
is.
I didn't get any fucking issues from that COVID.
It doesn't make you, surviving COVID doesn't make you an expert, but it definitely gives you a perspective when Dr. Fauci is saying, "Oh, we should get vaccinated," or "we should do double masks," or when he's dropped some stupid shit like that, you're like, I kind of.
Well, I mean, he's been dropping that stupid shit since the 80s. When the AIDS crisis of the 80s dropped, he was saying that people need to stay 6 feet apart, and that everybody should mask up.
Yeah.
Well, he was one of the ones. Wasn't he one of the ones that was pushing that AZT bullshit during the AIDS crisis?
Well, he was the one who started the whole thing that gay people could only get AIDS. Initially.
Well, here's the thing. Did you ever see the Dallas Buyers Club?
Not yet, but I need to.
Okay.
I know it's relevant.
So it's a real story. So it's based on a real story here. I'll cliff note. I'll cliff note it. So Matthew McConaughey plays the guy that sets up this Dallas Buyers Club. So when he contracts HIV, that's right about the same time that the AIDS the outbreak was starting to make its upward trend. And so to counter that, the government was pushing AZT, which was a drug, and they claimed that it was gonna help you and all that shit, but it actually ended up killing people faster, right? So by a stroke of luck, Matthew McConaughey, after taking AZT, went to Mexico, and one of the doctors there was like, yeah, AZT is actually killing people here. You should be taking supplements. You'll probably have a better chance of living. And then so the Dallas Buyers Club was basically Matthew McConaughey's character buying bulk nutrients and supplements and basically dishing them out to the subscribers. And the government was trying to shut him down at every turn. So that's what basically, and I think Dr. Fauci was part of that government deal with.
I mean, it sounds like something he would do, but I mean, honestly, I think the Reagan administration did do the right advice when they said, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't be partying and doing hard drugs and drinking hard alcohol, and maybe just maybe you should fuck 15 people in a week."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Well, yeah.
happens. Like, gay people have a much higher body count than straight people.
But it is kind of it does bring a perspective of like, okay, so back in the AIDS pandemic, they pushed pharmaceuticals that we now know were bullshit. And now that the COVID vaccine is coming out, they're pushing vaccines that may or may not be reliable. So it's like he's got like these people have this, like, they know what to do because they've done it before.
Well, Fauci just has like a god awful track record of misinformation himself, though. That was the point I was trying to make too.
Yep.
Like you know, he's the one who started the whole you know, AIDS is a gay virus thing in the 80s, and then, you know, it's funny that he's talking about double masking because just last year he was telling people that masks wouldn't do anything, that it's, you know, that it's just cosmetic, and yeah, just.
And honestly,
Yeah,
I think that's the truth with most masks that aren't N95s. I don't think do anything. I think
Well,
the
and I
N95 is the only one that has any effectiveness.
Well, I think the other issue is too is like a lot of people don't even wear these masks right anyway.
No, they don't.
Like they put their nose through it, which is just bypassing the issue.
Dude,
Or
I was
they'll,
at the
like-
airport today, and I couldn't tell you how many people were wearing it wrong still, like a year into this thing. And
Well, I think some of them do it on purpose because they're probably required to wear it. I don't know.
yeah, you are. It's federally mandated.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, going back to the Rand Paul thing though, you have him up there, Rand Paul, and look, I am totally on Rand Paul's side on this, where he defines gain of function, and he says that's what you were doing, and Fauci says no. Like,
Well, they were saying he said that he was, but it wasn't on that particular.
no,
vi-
I don't think he even said it was gain of
Well,
function, if I remember correctly. I could
Well,
be wrong, but I think he was even denying
No,
it was gain of
you know,
function.
he would no. He was saying that his grants didn't go toward gain of function. He was saying that the Wuhan lab did do gain of function, but that the grants that he gave to the EcoHealth Alliance, which was the company that I guess there was like a company, American or some company that was working in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. He was like, oh, that grant did not go toward that particular COVID-19. He was saying, oh, it's molecularly impossible. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. He was saying
like,
that too, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
What he's doing was, this is what I believe, is he was just throwing money in some general fund that sounded innocuous, and so it could be used for anything he wanted, and specifically this, because he knows it's dangerous, and that's why they banned it in America. And he's now, look, the way he freaks out in that hearing at Rand tells me he's scared. That doesn't mean he's gonna get in trouble, but he's scared because he knows some people are onto him and they're making the connections. And he says it's all under oath, like pretty flatly too. Like, it's not like he's using some, well, I think, or maybe, or in my opinion. You know, he just flat out says like, no, this, yes, that. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. You could definitely tell the reverence there's cracks in the reverence of Dr. Fauci. Like
Remember how it used to be when the beginning of this pandemic, he was Jesus. He could do no wrong.
What he was trying to say something. What were you trying to say?
Yeah, like, an oath doesn't mean anything to Fauci. Fauci believes himself to be God. He doesn't believe himself to be a God.
Yeah.
He believes himself to be the God.
Here's my issue,
science.
Though. A lot of how much like actual like medical professionals even believe in that oath anyway. It's like, look, if you did any sort of transgender surgery, you violated the Hippocratic oath. You know, first do no harm. you know, like it's bullshit. I don't think it ever really exists. Like at least in America, it hasn't been followed for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're in a world now where nobody's enforcing
Yeah.
the laws of the laws and the stuff that's supposed to be enforced. Like the people that are, you know, doing the evaluations for the licensures and shit like that, they're all crooked too. The law enforcement we're starting to see, they're starting to become crooked.
Yeah.
Or they've been in crooked, depending on how you want to look at it. I mean, there's nobody's enforcing anything, and this is what I'm saying. This is what I've said for a long time. The U.S. Constitution is the greatest piece of legislation ever written when it's enforced, right?
Yeah.
If it's, you know, if it's not enforced, then it's really worthless, in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And what's interesting too is this is kind of the world that we've been going into for a while, but it's just spearheading now because I think January 6th is a great example of this two-tier justice system that is going to reach a breaking point. I mean, who knows what's going to happen or if something will change or what the reaction is, but when you have Antifa and Black Lives Matter burning down cities across the country and they get bailed out and paid for by Kamala Harris or people she gets to fund it and promote the bail fund, but people that went into the Capitol and did do some bad stuff that broke the law, but mostly a lot of people were peaceful, and some people that just walked in on trespassing charges are in solitary confinement. There's something wrong here, and I don't know how you can be a so-called fair observer and not see this as a problem. You know, because some people just go like, "Oh, it's so awful. They went to the Capitol. It's so bad." And it's bad because it's symbolic, but in actuality, Antifa and Black Lives Matter did more damage.
Yeah.
Like, and cost more money, more lives.
Well, I mean, like, look, the Capitol rioters on July 6th, they didn't really damage a whole lot of property. They kind of just loitered in a federal building. They just loitered.
Yeah, and
loitered.
they didn't do a lot of
walked
damage to the
full
building, but they did do, you know, the worst they did was beat up police, really.
We might have broken a few windows, but like, you know,
Yeah.
as much money as that goes through that fucking building, you think they'd have enough money to patch up a couple windows or some shit. But
Yeah, and what's becoming more apparent is, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Revolver was talking about it, and other sources were talking about it. Dare I say, this is going to shock you, but MSNBC was even talking about this. We remember the Governor Whitmer kidnapping, and I was talking about a few weeks ago how, I forget how many of the 15, I was like 8 of the 15 were federal informants. Well, it's now come out that 12 out of the 15 were federal informants. 12 out of the 15 involved in Governor Whitmer kidnapping were federal informants or agents. That's pretty fucking bad. Did you hear that part, Alex? I heard the door click.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
Yeah,
it
no,
disappeared. But
I heard that.
yeah, I was just saying, Alex, because I know you stepped out. Did you see now that apparently the number's been cranked up? It used to be like 8 out of the 15 of the people involved in the Governor Whitmer kidnapping were feds. Now it's up to 12 out of the 15 were feds.
Ooh, I'm not surprised. Sean, where are you? Which team are you on?
I'm on the U.S. And what's interesting too is that now we're looking into the Capitol riots more, and you're thinking, well, let's see, if
Sean,
12.
can you switch to Russia if you can?
I'm gonna switch to the losing team. Yeah, I'll try to switch.
Privyet.
I mean, I don't know.
And it's not letting me switch. But you have all these people on that were feds, so that tells you, you know, because they're trying to spin this as, oh, there were federal informants, but they didn't mastermind the plan. I think they did.
Yeah.
So we go
12
into
out of 15,
1-6.
yeah.
Yeah, you think so too?
Yeah, 12 out of
most-
15. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Most of the people in the Capitol riots were federal informants.
Well, see
And I'm gonna say
that's
here
what's getting
first.
interesting is that now when you go into the Capitol riots, which
yeah.
had similar plots with what they were plotting with the people involved with the Governor Whitmer thing, which was break into the Michigan Capitol, which not a lot of people talk about, but that was the main plot point. But now when we get to the Capitol, we still have these people that are unidentified co-conspirators, and it makes you wonder that, well, let's see, if the feds planned this Michigan thing, that means they knew what was going down. And they knew, since they were infiltrated all these groups, they knew what was going to happen at the Capitol. So my guess is they let it happen, and they also provoked it.
Well, the other interesting thing too is think about this. Think about this, guys. We had how many riots across the entire country last summer?
It's insane.
From May to September of last summer, the entire country was burning just out because of the whole George Floyd thing. Not one of those rioters got prosecuted. They got arrested, but they got bailed out or let go by some of these weak ass prosecutors. Meanwhile, there was one riot, if we can even call it that happened with some quote unquote right wingers on January 6th, and yet that's all the media and the government and anyone wants to talk about.
Yeah, and it's still going on. They're still nabbing people. They're still looking for people to prosecute and charge. It's going to be going through, I think, till the midterms.
Well, yeah, the only reason they did this, I think, is because they know, that they can go and claim that the January 6th was a coup. That's what they're trying to go with. But
Insurrection.
It's a scam.
The thing it is
yeah, but one of the wait. Let me say something. Here's an interesting thing. Nick Fuentes and Tim Giannette, also known as Baked Alaska.
Yeah.
They were both involved in a little event a couple years ago called Charlottesville, which got a lot of people arrested, sent to jail, blacklisted, all sorts of shit. They were also involved in January 6th. And after January 6th, Patrick Casey made a statement, made a live stream saying that the feds they froze Nick Fuentes' bank accounts.
Yeah.
I heard that was true.
It did come out to be true, and I don't know if he knew beforehand, but because it sounds like to me with that case stuff, because we followed that closely kind of when that was going down. I don't remember if that, I guess that did happen. Yeah, it did happen after the 6th, because then they had AFPAC. Patrick Casey was saying that Nick was on no-fly list, his bank account had been frozen, and something else. I forget what the other thing was, but the bank account thing, I don't even... Nick said there was a grain of truth to that because he had some issue with one of his accounts, but I don't know if it was fully frozen then, because later he said that his bank account was fully frozen and he couldn't access the money, and then he later found he was on the no-fly list. So I don't know if he was in the no-fly list at that time that Casey said it, but it is interesting that everything that Casey said did technically turn out to eventually become true one way or another.
Casey's probably a Fed, or he's working with the Feds.
I think so.
One thing
I think Nick Fuentes is working with the Feds. I think it's Nick Fuentes working with them.
I don't think so. They wouldn't have put him on a no-fly list.
No, I mean, I don't know how him and Baked Alaska,
Well, what did he really
They
even
were the
do?
only ones that got out of Charlottesville unscathed.
Well, they
got
didn't
out of the
do
country.
anything.
They
There were a
didn't
lot
break
of
the law.
people at Charlottesville that got out unscathed because they didn't do anything. And with the Capitol, Nick wasn't in the riots. Baked was, and he's facing charges because of it, because he trespassed technically. And
He's not facing charges. He's out free, and he's still live streaming.
well, because how it works
all
is
that.
they do a
Mental disease
pre-trial.
or defect? Mental disease or defect. I think he's retarded.
Well, yeah, he
Yeah,
has
I
drug
could have
issues.
told you that shit before all this shit happened.
Well, see how it works though is, can I call you Popes? How it works is they, okay, yeah, they do a pre-trial where they say your charges, and then they decide if you're a threat to the public, will we keep you arrested in jail till your sentencing trial. If you're not, they'll either put you on a bail or they'll just let you go. With Baked, he didn't actually do the rioting that you saw other people doing. He just literally walked in, looked around, shit posted, picked up the phone, and acted like Donald Trump was talking to him. You know, did he technically break the law? Technically, yes, but he didn't do anything violent. The violent offenders are the people that they're keeping really tight, and the people that were in these infamous social media posts. But Baked, of all the people there, did like the least, other than the people that just walked in. So that's why he's still walking around, and he may have paid a bail for all I know.
Okay, but here's another thing that I feel like everyone misses here too. And not you guys specifically, but I mean just like everyone, even Congress and the government. Technically, this was not an insurrection.
Oh yeah.
Because in order to throw, if this were like a real coup attempt to overthrow the government, technically, they would have needed heavy weaponry. There would have been guns here. There weren't any guns. No one like tried to bring an AK or like hell even a shotgun or even a handgun into the Capitol.
Or even the zip tie guy, they found out he took it from somebody. I think a cop.
I think the cops gave it to him, didn't they?
What?
I think I read that somewhere. Like it was a cop gave it to him for something.
Oh Jesus, that's crazy. Well, and the other thing too is that I wanted to add is that I'm losing the thought now. I'm getting caught up in the battle here. Oh shit, my brain's running out muck. But oh yeah, I remember what it was. The people that are suspected of being feds though are the unindicted co-conspirators. These were people that were in the riots, that broke shit, that did shit, that aren't being charged. Those are the people that people think are feds because they're not touching them. And that's usually what happens. And if they do get touched, they get arrested and they get let go. Like Jaden X, the guy that sold the footage to CNN, the Black Lives Matter guy that was also at the Capitol. He sold the footage to CNN of the Capitol riots, even though he was involved with the riots, and went into the Capitol, and it let him go. So that's why those people are sus.
Like,
January 6th was more like a museum tour than a riot. Let's be real.
Yeah. I mean, I still call it a riot.
They were let in. They were straight up let in there. I think this was the Fed action.
Yeah, I agree.
It was definitely a false flag operation. I would have to say.
No, it's like the Reichstag fire in Nazi Germany.
Yep, exactly. You know, they would call Trump a Nazi. Well, you know, Biden's more like Hitler than Trump in this respect.
Well, but this kind of goes to the other thing too. Is like, I was telling people, and so was Alex Jones. Like, I was telling people not to go to. I mean, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but like, I was telling people not to go to the to the Capitol on January 6th. Why? Because I knew that the media vans were going to be there, like they were just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah,
right?
And they provoked it probably.
Yeah, probably provoked it. And so I was telling people that any Trump supporter worth their salt would do good, like being home. Because I'll tell you what's crazy is after January 6th, like the day after, the FBI on their Facebook page was telling people, if you know anyone who was involved in the January 6th, conspiracy, let us know.
Yeah.
And so some of these lefty ass motherfuckers who I went to high school with started tagging me and saying that I was like a conspirator.
Would you wheel into the Capitol?
Or no, they were saying I was like influencing people to do it, and I was like, okay. I'm like, first off, I doubt the FBI is gonna look into me, but even if they do, I'll send them footage of, what I was saying of telling people not to go there.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, just go be a pain in the ass to them if they go to you, because fuck the feds.
Yeah, fuck them.
Waste their time.
Well, what's funny too is...
Jones had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. Don't go there. If Alex Jones says, if he says it's a bad idea, it's a bad idea.
Well,
Yeah,
Alex says
Alex
that he
Jones-
thinks he was set up with that thing.
Yeah.
Because he was talking on a podcast recently where he helped organize the thing where Trump spoke. He helped get the money and set the whole thing up. And when that was happening, Trump then said, like, oh, we're going to go to the Capitol and we're going to make our voices heard peacefully, blah, blah, blah. And then Secret Service came up to Alex and they said, Trump wants you to lead the march to the Capitol. And he's like, oh, really? I didn't know I was going to be doing that. And they're like, yeah. Can you lead him? He's like, I guess so.
You're
And
talking about the Andrew Schultz podcast?
yeah.
That was a good one.
That was a
actually
good one.
a really good podcast.
Very entertaining.
Yeah.
He was on twice, too. They banned the first video, but I hope
Yeah.
the second one's still up. And he was talking about that, and it sounds like even the Secret Service might have been in that, where they set him up to try and get people to the Capitol, but people were already there. And that was one thing Alex said, and everybody else that's been there said. If you were watching Trump speak, you weren't at the Capitol, and the shit that started there happened long before Trump even told people to go to the Capitol. So.
Right. And it's fascinating that you bring that up too, because I remember I saw an interview on Newsmax, earlier. I saw an interview on Newsmax last week with Roger Stone, and I guess someone called Roger Stone saying the same thing. Roger was in the hotel room, and then someone called and said that Trump wanted him to lead the march on the Capitol, and Roger Stone was like, well, I just talked with Trump's advisor 5 minutes ago, and he told me to stay here and that we'd be meeting later on. So
whoa.
I don't know.
And that's Fed action for you.
Yeah, that's Fed action. Holy shit. I heard him saying on InfoWars that he was telling Alex when he heard people going to the Capitol. Roger said, "I have a bad feeling about this. I'm getting the hell out of here."
Yeah, and I mean, he was right to do so, especially since he had just been let out, literally weeks before that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is the sort of stuff most people don't know, so I'm glad you guys know this shit, and we gotta keep spreading it, be those force multipliers that spread the information out there, because a lot of people don't know this, and all this stuff points to, it's Fed action, it was a false flag, it was set up, the whole thing it gets worse and worse the more you hear. It's...
Well, and the other thing, too, is... look, I know people were I know that we kind of had a good chuckle at how ridiculous it is that someone was trying to inform on it, but also it is kind of I'm not gonna say I was scared, but there was a brief moment where I was kind of oh shit, what if someone decides to look in, what if someone decides to like, look into to it because they're having a bad day or whatever, right? Like obviously, I think the person who tagged me in the FBI is probably just being an asshole.
Yeah.
But still, it's like,
It's
you
still
know,
scary.
it's like, I actually I had to message that person being like, if I were back in Denver, I'd smack the shit out of you right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason to tag people who you damn well know weren't even in DC and had, no connections.
Yeah, and even talking to a Fed scares me. I mean, I won't say anything to them. I'll just literally ask them, hey, do I need to answer your questions? And if they say yes, I guess I have to. Then if they say no, or if they say yes, I say I'm getting a lawyer. And if they say no, I hang the fuck up and say go fuck yourself.
Here's my thing. If some dude in a fucking Viking suit comes up and is like, hey, you want to go to DC? We're going to take our country back. Okay? I'm gonna reply to him like, look, you know I don't like the cops, right? But listening to that whole weirdness that you just did makes me want to speed dial the fucking FBI right goddamn now. I'm just saying.
Well, did you see he's now making the mental insanity plea?
Yeah, he's gonna get it too because he's fucking nuts.
The Q shaman.
Well, yeah, when Alex Jones is saying that your conspiracies are crazy.
Yeah.
You fucked up
Yeah.
some.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Alex hated Q. I remember even before this, he would like rant about how Q's so stupid. And then when he brought the shaman on, he just went off because he's like, you guys are stupid. You're falling for something that's so stupid.
Wasn't he a Fed? Wasn't the shaman a Fed or an undead co-conspirator or whatever?
No, he's facing charges. Nah, unless I've seen there's other shit happening. Nah, he's getting charges thrown at him.
No, he's definitely facing charges.
Yeah, he's still in jail.
God, I'd love to be in the DC prison system right now. It's probably full of a bunch of fucking Trump supporters. That sounds pretty fun.
Well, did you hear? I saw some national file that apparently a bunch of them started banding together and they were singing the national anthem in a DC jail the other day.
Dude, let's do it. Let's make a right-wing prison gang that's not like a fucking white nationalist one,
Base prison gang.
No, I like my freedom. No, I'm good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Phil.
Despite not really having much of it right now, I kind of like.
Why do we need to start like a prison gang? Why don't we just start like a conservative mafia?
Well, no, because we need to go make it so that there's gonna be more conservatives thrown in prisons,
Yeah, it's not gonna stop.
Let's make it red pilled.
Yes.
Base.
Let's start the based mafia though.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
I disavow, but oh yeah.
I don't know, man. Like,
Let's
I don't
get
know.
to that prison reform bullshit. Let's go.
I
regret that.
They were pretty based, when they were running New York.
Hey, they got shit cleaned up, didn't they?
I've been watching The Sopranos over the past couple weeks, so that's why.
Wait. Are you telling me you're just watching it?
No, I've watched like I've watched like 3 times, but it's.
Oh, okay. Okay, turn a second. I'm just like, oh fuck. I don't think I was about to lose a little bit of respect for you.
Look, I think if they're going after Rudy Giuliani right now, that means the door's open for the mafia to come back because he's the only one that really cracked down on the mafia in New York.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
You know what's weird? Oh, here's the weirdest thing. Like Michael Francisi actually had to sit down with Rudy Giuliani.
Who's Michael Francisi?
Oh,
Michael
Michael.
Francesi was in the I think it was in the Gambino crime family. He was one of the top earning, crime bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was in Forbes. He was mentioned by name in Goodfellas.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What was he
Even
doing
though
with
it's funny,
Rudy?
like I don't, I don't know. They just had to sit down and they were talking.
Hmm.
I think
Michael Francesi is actually like a podcaster. He's
Jesus.
he's kind of like if Joe Rogan were in the mafia, that would be Michael Francesi. He basically talks to he does like an interview style show where he interviews like all these old mobsters. So he actually knew Trump back in the 90s.
I bet Trump had to deal with the mafia in New York.
Well,
Definitely in Vegas he had to.
Well, he had to do with them in
Honestly,
Atlantic City.
look, I hope. You know what? I hope he did business with the mafia. You know what? If he did business for the mafia, good on him.
He's a true American.
You know what? Fuck it. You know what? I hope he did help embezzle money for them like he's been accused of. I hope he did.
The mafia is honestly less corrupt than the U.S. government at this point. It's sad to say, but it's true.
It's hard.
You know,
It's
actually,
hard for me to believe.
Here's the thing about, the mafia. Let's say like I'm a quarterback, and I get like $100,000 in debt with the mafia. I can actually negotiate with a mob boss. I'm like, okay, I will throw the next 3 or 4 games for you to pay off my debt, and they'll be like, okay, yeah, all you gotta do is lose.
Yeah.
You lose those 3 or 4 games, we're all good.
Yep, that's what happened in The Sopranos. Oh yeah, Larry. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, Larry brings up a really good point. Yeah, the Kennedys were mobbed up too. Yeah, let's not.
Yeah.
Didn't Robert Kennedy go after the mob hard? And that's why you get the conspiracies that the mob took out JFK and Robert Kennedy?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was because of the Cuban thing.
There's also that
Well-
too. There's a lot of conspiracies.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So brief history lesson. So supposedly one of the reasons why the Bay of Pigs happened was because the mafia had like business interests in Havana, and they wanted Castro out so that they could get back to doing business in Cuba.
Oh, speaking of
That was The
Castro,
Godfather. That was part of the story for The Godfather.
Yep.
speaking of Castro, you made the perfect freaking segue there, which is a little bit of a drama that's been happening over, I guess, the past week at Penn State that we have been technically involved with to some degree. There is this building on Penn State's campus called the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. PRCC is the acronym
Yeah,
they're gonna use.
or else he'll get real triggered.
Oh god. I always
They're
thought it was
already
Rob.
triggered about them.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep
Rob.
saying it. It's like Kamala instead of Kamala. It's Robertson instead of Robeson. It's basically, it's in the hub, which is the student center, and this particular, the PRCC, is basically like the identity politics hub of Penn State, and it's where
It's like the Tumblr of Penn State.
yeah, it has a lot of, and I'm not saying it's in a negative way, but this is just literally what it is. But it's pretty much just black stuff, like African American History Month, African American meetings, all this stuff for black people, about black people. It just all happens there. Yeah, not saying it that way, just saying that is what happens there, and that's how they describe it. And there is apparently quotes on the wall. I've been in there once, and that was once for some sort of meeting, and I was trying to be the conservative that ruffled feathers, naturally. But I'm not conservative, but I shouldn't have said that. The Republican that ruffles feathers. And they apparently have quotes on the wall, and one of them is a quote from Fidel Castro. Now, the contents of the quote really don't matter, because what matters in this story is that the connection was made during the Cuban protest that we've been seeing over the past few weeks, and one student in particular that is Cuban and is also a member of the College Republicans sent out this tweet complaining about it and saying it should be taken down. I think he made a call to action like that, and I thought, I agree with my retweet. I said, okay, cool. I didn't think anything would happen. Surprisingly, Penn State, within a few days, this tweet didn't even really blow up much, said we're gonna take down the quote, and we're all like, awesome, this is an actual victory. Maybe a small one, you might say, but it's still a fucking victory. And good on the CRs for actually doing something for once. And the reaction was interesting because we got involved with it. And the reaction, and I'll maybe pull it up if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to because I'm playing a game. But if you look up the PSU Black Student Union and I forget what the other pages were. The Socialist. Yeah, the Black Caucus.
The Black and Latino Caucus made a statement.
Yes,
right?
that is the ones. And also the Socialists, the United Socialists of Penn State, USPSU. You can check it out on Instagram. I think Twitter, they probably have them too. And we got some Twitter battles with them and Instagram battles because they basically said, well, we're not, against the quote being taken down, but we don't like that Penn State can do this to us.
This is our place. This is our space. This is a BIPOC space at Penn State. Fuck off.
So yeah, my thing was like right away, as I was reading that garbage. One thing that's the first thing that struck to me was they said that they have no political affiliation or whatever, which I'm like, or they said they were
such
apolitical.
bullshit.
I'm like,
no, that was UPUA saying that.
It was garbage. So
yeah, that was our student government saying that they're apolitical.
Yeah, bullshit.
So
are they the ones that condemned the conservative clubs over
right.
State?
So
they condemned our event with Sargon.
If you do work with a political organization, which they do, right? If you do work with the college Democrats, and you don't do work with the college Republicans, you are not apolitical.
Yeah.
Not apolitical.
No, wait.
Yeah, you're apolitical hack. That's.
And let's keep in mind, who are most of the top people in UPUA? College Democrats. Specifically, exec board members of college Dems.
Yeah, you need to start going after them with campus reform to go and shed light on this. You keep going with your story though.
Yeah. Well, Phil got into it real deep with them, and I was too, because we were just calling them on their bullshit. I'm like, you guys condemned our event, our Turning Point event with Sargon and Hunter Avalon, and you don't condemn Fidel Castro. You are not apolitical. You clearly have a bias, and you're like, oh, we stand with the Black and Latino caucus.
They're political too.
They were saying that one of their complaints was like, they were saying, oh well, how come these white organizations were able to get this shit done so quickly when these not white organizations want something and it takes god long to get stuff done. And
I wonder why, because half the stuff they want to get done is violations of the First Amendment,
right?
Or fucking impossible to do.
So even yeah, and I was like, well, first off, like, a lot of the stuff you ask for is stupid and deserves to get thrown away anyway. But the stuff that you do ask for is generally not shit that even if the university did agree with you, it wouldn't be quick fixes, because you'd have to do, like, you got to get votes in. you got to go through proper chains of command. You've got to go through, you know, you got to find the budget money. You've got to find, you know, or if you're trying to do something that like fixes something, then it's like you got to, you know, you got to find people that are doing it, or like that are capable of doing it, and you got to set up appointments and get the right materials and whatever. And it's like, well, with this quote, all I needed was a fucking can of spray paint, and that's it. Bam, quote gone, right? Quote is gone.
Well,
It's
as I
literally
mentioned,
that simple.
As I mentioned, it's not, according to them, all of them agreed to remove it, so it's not like there would be any opposition. The shit they want to do, they want to go and like investigate unnamed students for saying racist shit, and you know, like stuff like that. It's like, okay, how much resources are devoted to this, and can we even do anything
like,
about
yo,
this?
you want to investigate? How long do investigations take, right? It's
Fucking
like, yo, you
forever.
think they're just gonna, yeah, the investigations don't, no investigation I ever seen goes that fucking quickly, right? And it's like, I'm like, these
Well, you
people
know
are
what their
so
demand
asinine.
basically is? It's end racism. They're just like, why can't you end racism quickly enough? It's like,
Like,
All right, well, what about world hunger while we're at it? You know?
it's not like, and the problem is that, I mean, I don't.
There's tons of
They-
problems with their bullshit. You can't name them
It's,
all.
it's bullshit. The bottom line is, right, like if we're doing real talk, they're just mad. They're just mad because those largely white organizations actually did the work and actually made a positive change and beat them fucking to it. That's what it ultimately
Yeah.
comes down to.
yeah. And the other thing too is, let's keep in mind one very important thing that I think trumps all of this, which is that it was not technically white organizations that got this quote taken down. It was a Latino Cuban
Right.
student. It was a person of color.
Oh, then they started to go and try to say he wasn't actually like Hispanic.
Yeah. That's fucking racist.
Right.
There's like,
well,
you ain't
well-
black, you ain't Cuban, you ain't Latino, because I say so. It's like,
Well,
what?
well, actually, he
well,
does.
that-
He looks
well, that-
white to me.
Well, that's the social justice warriors for you, though, guys. You're only black, or you're only Latino, or you're only disabled. In my case,
Yeah.
if you agree with us,
Yeah.
right?
Well, because it becomes an
it-
ideology. It's not, the race to them is not your skin color. It's a state of mind. It's an ideology. If you do not think like a black person, you're not a black person. That's how they think. I think that's fucked up, but they don't.
It's, I mean, even going back to the Trayvon Martin thing, which happened back when I was in high school, like that was the first like really big inkling of like this SJW
Yeah.
crap
A lot of the
That I-
Black Lives Matter started.
that I remember. Yeah. I mean, and I remember they called George Zimmerman, who defended himself, and rightly so. They were saying that, oh, well, George Zimmerman isn't really Hispanic. He's a white Hispanic.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here with that.
It's like, what? Like,
Can they use the same logic with Obama? Because he's technically half black. So they can say, oh, he's a white black. Like, what?
Well, see, the fact that he votes Democrat, I guess, you know, that fills in the blanks.
Yeah, now he's black because he votes Democrat. He's progressive. It's so crazy. And we were fighting with these people because honestly, it's a good way to show their true colors. And it's a good way to show other people who maybe are just browsing around, their friend shares with them, they see the comments. They see that these people are insane. They
And
are
how we-
racial supremacists.
And how we handled it is exactly how every fucking person, when you're dealing with bullshit, right?
Yeah.
This is how you deal with it. You call them out on their bullshit. You systematically explain to them why their shit is bullshit. And you continuously, and if they continuously try to pass bullshit, you continuously go at them and you explain to them in detail why what they're saying is bullshit. And then once as a last resort they start name calling and all that, throwing insults, you won right there. bam, you won, right? The second they start name calling and throwing insults, you won.
Well, and the
That's
good
it.
thing about how you handled it, how Alex handled it, myself and everyone, really everyone, is that we were respectful, but we weren't nicey nice. You know, we weren't
No.
like, well, I see where you're coming from, or, oh, well, I can meet you in the middle. It was like, no,
No.
this is bullshit. Like, we stood our ground, and that is the key, is that you can make
And they were like,
compromises,
and
but
they
you can't...
continued to say, we don't understand. Like
Yeah.
they were like, oh, you don't understand our complaint. And I literally,
No, I
so
understood.
what I
It's
did,
bullshit.
I said, I explained, this is your complaint. I get it. I disagree with you. This is why I disagree with you. And I went multiple points, and I'm like, look, this is, so either you don't understand what the hell you're talking about, or you're purposefully full of shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't understand, like in my experience, because this is the same thing that I had to deal with, not at my current college, but when I was at the State College of Florida, right? We had like a young Republican group, and we had I mean, for the most part everything went smoothly, but we had like an LGBT like club that like tried to like go up against us in one of our events, and they were saying, well, you know, right-wing people discriminate against, you know, LGBTs, and you don't understand what that's like to be
Fucking where?
discriminated.
Where does that happen?
Right. Well, that was my first thing. It's like, hey, we're not right wing, but you know, be like, where has that happened? Specifically on this campus, where has that happened?
Well,
And
no,
B-
I bet they brought the bakery thing, didn't they? They brought the bakers, those evil Christian bakers.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They always bring up the baker thing, which I actually met the baker who in Colorado who was, you know, the subject of that case, and that thing got blown way out of proportion.
Yeah.
From what actually happened. But yeah, so I mean, but I was saying, but so I asked them, I'm like, specifically on this campus, what has any you know, right-wing person done that has, you know, harmed you? Well, I know you, Sam, specifically, you've worn your Trump hat on campus.
Ooh.
And I'm like,
Ooh.
and I'm like, yeah, I have.
You wear a hat. Oh my God.
Dude, that's
I'm
like the
like-
chick my freshman year after Trump won. I think it was the day after. She told me to take my Trump hat off, my MAGA hat, because it was a threat to her, because somebody might rape her.
Was that the mop hair?
No. This was that crazy bitch that was in the hub, and she was handing out these letters the day after Trump won about how he enables rapists because he talks about grabbing people by the pussy. And she's like, can you please take that hat off? And I was like, fuck no. I didn't say that specifically, but I wish I did. But I was just like, no. Why can't I wear this? She's like, well, that hat is very dangerous to me. It threatens my safety because that man that it represents said to grab women by the pussy, and that is enabled rapist, and I'm scared that I'm gonna get raped. And I was like, you are mentally insane.
She would say, hey, your clothes offend me as well. I request you put on something more modest because you look like a whore, and I got AIDS from a whore before, or got like chlamydia from a whore.
The whole grabbing by the pussy thing has also gotten
Way out of
take it-
context.
yeah,
Way
take
out of
it-
context.
way out of
He's not
context.
talking about like he just goes up to women just like kapow, like grabs them. He's talking about when women throw themselves at him because he's a celebrity with money.
He didn't even say that like a campaign event. He said it like on a closed hot mic.
Years ago.
You know? It wasn't even something that he was like trying to go and do. He's like, oh guys, we're gonna grab Hillary by her fucking stank pussy and throw her out for over the
Like,
wall.
No,
they made it look like he was like sneaking up behind women and
Yeah.
going, "Gotcha!" Like, no, it's like no.
no,
It's
it was in 2004 when he was having when
Access
he was,
Hollywood, Billy Bush.
yeah.
yeah, during that whole thing. But also during that time, that was also during the time later when we found out that he was also, you know, giving it to Karen McDougal too. Who I know who Phil knows who
Yeah,
who she
yeah.
is.
His friend
And,
knows too.
yeah. My friend probably definitely knows who she is. Definitely. I'm like, look, I gotta say, this week though, he was a great source of information though.
I bet.
Like, I gotta say, look, that the one time where I'm like, most of the time when he talks about this shit, I'm like, look, I really don't need to know all that. But this week it was like, well, you know, hey, this is
Please
like
tell me.
Brandy Love. It was Brandy Love. It was a name porn star. And so I was like, all right. Well, I mean, I don't fucking, but like this is somebody who like he's almost like a scout. Like he scouts older, like the established porn stars. He scouts new porn stars. He's like a college football scout, but for porn. Like he's just like all that. Like he knows the websites, he knows the movies, he knows all the companies.
He should seriously get into some like Playboy writing or something, because he'd be like a fucking expert.
Dude, I mean, like I was saying, like, dude, you should probably work for fucking one of these companies. And he's like, he's gone to a couple of the what the fuck?
AVN Awards.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, yo, he's actually gone to a couple of the AVN Awards, and like he's just like incredible. Like,
Is this
he's
man married?
No.
Okay.
He was.
Okay. That answers that.
Is that the same guy whose wife like ended up doing porn or?
No, that was another one. That was we worked together, but I'm not sure we were really friends. But like, yeah, I mean, when that guy, like his wife started doing porn, yeah, we really fucking we let him have it, because like it was just funny. Then it was funny, one of the very first scenes was like, he's like, oh my god, this is so big, I don't know if I can fit it all in my mouth. And we played that shit over and over again. Like anytime he'd be going into the fucking the dining facility, anytime he'd be going to the work, anything, like, oh look, how's your old lady doing? Play the video. Boop. And it's like, yeah. It was bad, because like it was just like it was basically a shot to his ego, like, you know, because when you're talking about when she's pulling the surprise, obviously I don't know if it was an act or not, but when she pulled the dude's drawers down and had the surprised look on the face, we were like, oh, look how surprised she is. Oh my god, look, he must be hung or something.
Oh,
like, I
no.
mean, I think maybe somebody else might not be, right?
Oh, no.
It was bad. It was bad. Like, but no, this guy, my one of my really good friends, he's like, I mean, you could just like any freaking, he'll tell you a porn actress, and he'll tell you probably all the movies that they've been in, what kind of awards they've won or some shit, like.
So in other words, he's more reliable than Google is for this.
He probably would be. He probably would be. Like, it's nuts. Like.
Well, let's just get back on subject.
Yeah. Let's get back on
That was a
subject.
great tangent, if we could even call it that.
How bro.
Yeah. Oh god, Castro thing. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, the socialist statement. That one was a fun one, because the socialists at Penn State, who are communists. They're not socialists. Like, they're openly communists. They had Marx and Stalin and Lenin like at their fucking meetings, like on PowerPoint slides, and encourage people to read Marx.
Dude, socialism, communism, they're the fucking same. They're the same. I'm sorry. They just gonna tell you that's a lie. It's like people say, "Oh, I'm into anime," when they really mean they're a pedophile.
Good analogy. But they released a statement and they took the cake. I have to say, like UPUA, they had some ballsy things in there that made me go at them. The Black Caucus, usual bullshit. But the socialists went all the fuck out. They were unapologetic. They were like Stalin, other dictator. Castro is still immensely popular in Cuba today and is beloved. I'm like, what are you turning it on the news or something? You know, not right now.
Yeah, there was
It
another
is
thing.
capitalist news. You were
they were
watching
like,
the capitalist.
They were like, there was one tweet that was like, oh, Castro has an 85% approval rating in Cuba, and I was
So
like,
is Putin.
well, look, here's the deal, right? Even if you believe that bullshit, right? With a dictator like Castro,
We're Biden.
85% is still bad when 15% of the people are still like, fuck you, right? If you're a dictator and you imprison people and you like starve people in prison and
Put gun to their
kill
head
them,
with this
whatever,
pole.
right? Even with all of that, 15% of the population still told you to go fuck yourself, right? You know you're bad, right?
Yeah, and they write a glowing love letter of Castro. Like, it is a love letter. They are unapologetic with it. I don't know how else to put it. It's just, I mean, it's not
a mental
surprising.
disorder.
But yeah, it's a complete mental disorder. These people have that. They are so
I wanted to be like, my
unoptical.
response, I wanted to be like, so when you jerk off Castro's corpse, does he still come?
Oh God. You should have said that.
Yeah, I know.
But we couldn't, and you want to know why? Because I started commenting on there something, and I know this is like a cliche conservative, like Turning Point USA line, but I did it because I know the membership of this club, and the membership of this club does, let's say, intersect with the LGBT clubs. And so I know my Castro history enough that I knew that Castro sent gays to concentration camps. Even the left admits this because it's fucking true. So I said, I just simply said Castro sent gays to concentration camps. Will USPSU disavow? And they deleted my comment, and I thought, well, because I had poor Wi-Fi, I thought, well, maybe it didn't send. So I sent it again. It got deleted again. I was like, okay, they're deleting my shit. 100% confirmed. And then they disabled comments completely. I was like, whoa, achievement unlocked there. And then they fucking blocked me because I started tweeting about it. I think they did before that. And I started tweeting them about it. I'm like, well, I can tag them on Twitter, and I'm going to check Twitter. I don't know if they blocked me there. I think they realized their mistake at that point. But it was just a pathetic, unoptical display. It's just stupid. I mean, really stupid to defend Castro. Just objectively stupid.
I'm not surprised they're doing what any communist would do and quash dissent.
Yeah. They are gagging anyone that disagrees with them. Very, very appropriate.
Well, what did you expect? You know they're communists. They admit it.
That is true. I honestly, it makes sense.
Yeah, at least they're open about it.
At least they're consistent. They're like the other communists. But no, it was funny. It was funny because I started putting that like on all these statements just to fuck with them because I know it get under their skins. And it's honestly, I did in a trolly way, but it's true, and it's an indefensible person, and it puts an indefensible argument, which is like, you people say you're progressive, you people say that you are like the champions of gay rights and gay people. This guy literally sent him to concentration camps. Like, the fuck? So I just put on everything, and then this one chick got like really triggered by it. She's like, you put this on everything. And I was like, damn right I did.
Because no one has put up a valid argument against that.
Yeah.
They just keep deleting your comments. This is why we do not need communism and socialism.
Yeah, you know what I should have said was like, no, I didn't put it under all of them because it got deleted, and she just like got so triggered by it, and she just went off. I don't even remember half of what she said, 'cause I just was like, LOL, like you're insane, LOL. I remember on the fucking I think it was the Black Caucus one, I just literally responded, well, LMAO, get wrecked. Like, it's the only way I can respond in 2021 to this stuff. Like, I honestly, like, making even the gay argument there about Castro was a stretch for me, because I'm like, this isn't going to change anyone's minds, but it'll trigger them. And it's true.
Yeah, it's good to fuck with them once in a while. It's healthy.
It is good for your mental health. And I tell people, I look at this and I say, how are we losing? You know, if you think we're losing, let's say. But how are we losing to this?
Well, it's like what the communists did, you know? They delete your comment, they may or may not delete your vote, you know?
Yeah.
That's probably how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We are the popular movement here.
They can edit history like that.
Yeah. It was just very funny, very entertaining, very revealing. It's good experience to know what your enemy's like and what you're dealing with. And yeah, it was all-around victory. It is an all-around, unequivocal, complete and total victory. So I'm proud of everybody that was involved with it in any capacity. Because it's an easy one that actually worked. I mean, it was a layup. Really, it's a layup. And it makes you wonder, and I know they defend these people, but why the fuck did they have a Castro quote on there to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's
Someone
stupid.
should do some investigation. Who put it up there?
Good question. We should
Let's
look
have an
into that.
investigation. Yeah, we should figure that out.
Yes. I honestly might be able to. I think I know some ways. Because really, that was what I started thinking today was, yeah, this is, you know, bad. It's a good thing we got it fixed. But who is stupid enough to do this? Like, really, this is just objectively stupid. But they got away with it for a while.
Can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah, not even Sam High can't keep getting away with it. The other thing I want to talk about, and this is something I know Sam can give us maybe some insider info on, and I guess I kind of can too in some ways, is Sam Richards is back in the spotlight again of Penn State because people keep digging up his older clips because it's all out there. And there was a Fox News article, a bunch of articles on it, and even one today where he said that breathing is oppression. A white person breathing is oppression.
This guy, he needs to be fired.
Well, I will say that there were concerns by multiple parties that he was going to be fired. He hasn't been. I don't think Penn State's gonna, unless something really, like the money starts getting pulled, then they'll do something.
Well, he's tenured, so, like, I don't see how they could really fire him unless he does something like rape someone, you know?
Yeah.
And even then, that'd take him a while. Look what happened to Sandusky.
Yeah, yeah. And, I mean, look, I give Sam credit where credit's due on a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. I understand the guy decently, but his white privilege stuff was the biggest thing that I disagree with him on, because he was deep into that, and I'm like, dude, this doesn't exist. Like, get off on this. But he's still on it, and I know his assistant Jeff, that we know, was talking about, like, you know, all these right-wing people going after him, and I'm like, well, to be fair, like, there is stuff there that just, if you don't take that class, it's gonna look bad.
I don't even care. Like, he needs to describe it. He records it all, you know? I don't see why. You know? I want to go and speak to this motherfucker because he sounds like he's a nutbag. I honestly don't see why he should be employed by Penn State.
Well, we may be able to talk to Jeff soon, so that might be a step towards that.
And Jeff, maybe he's not in shit as far as I can see right now. He may be lurking in the chat, and if he is, hello Jeff. Love you as always. But I mean, saying that you know, breathing while white basically is oppression. How is that not?
That's deliberately offensive.
Yeah. How is that not discriminatory or racist? And Jeff texted me earlier and was saying, oh well, what's the whole context of the clip? Well, it doesn't really matter what the context is. That statement in and of itself, no matter what the context, seems pretty damn racist to me.
I mean, to be fair, I would like to see the context, but from what I'm guessing,
I would too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even with context,
unless he was quoting someone else who said something retarded like that. That's the only time I could think there would be any sort of context that could, you know, justify saying something of that level of smooth brainedness.
Exactly. That's my feeling on the whole thing too.
Well, and if I'm understanding correctly without context, what I think Sam Richards is saying, is basically just you as a white person existing, you are oppressive.
Okay,
with the privilege you have, which
that offends me that he said that. That there is. How is that useful? That is straight racism. Well, what if he said, well, you know what? You breathing as a black person is oppressive to me as a white man. Like, what if he said that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Flip the script in it. Yeah. But I mean, and see, this is the other thing though, that these cultural Marxists, they have this weird thing of, if you say prejudice or racist shit against white people, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And see, this is the real problem. Is you want to talk about like people like Nick Fuentes and James Allsup and, you know, even Richard Spencer, and it's like, yeah, Richard Spencer might be a nutball and whatnot, but guess what?
Fed.
People like Sam Richards are the ones who are driving people towards Richard Spencer. If we really want to get crazier, I would make an argument that people like Sam Richards are the ones that are driving people to the Richard Spencer types.
No, and I can agree with that. I think that's what happens. You know, which came first, the anti-white person or the white supremacist? Well, you know, in the modern aspect and alt-right, I think a lot of that was started because you get a lot of these people who just hate white people, and whenever you have an action, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. That's what happens. You know, they're the reason why we have the alt-right today.
And that's my other problem with, you know, what's with Sam's white privilege stuff, is not only do I think it's just wrong, like it's false, white privilege doesn't exist, but by saying this stuff, it's like with whenever leftists say this stuff, they create their own monsters and their boogeymen. They create these white Nazis, white supremacists, because it's confirming maybe, you know, something that they just questioned at one point and thought, you know, wow, you know, is this thing happening? And they hear people telling them, you suck because you're white, you have privilege because you're white, and you need to give me stuff. And I'm not saying that's what Sam is, you know, quote word for word saying, but that's how these people are interpreting it, especially the white privilege stuff, because ironically, Sam Richards won't admit this, but anybody that believes in white privilege believes in white supremacy. This is a point Sargon made, but it's very true, is you literally believe that whites are superior because you're saying that they're privileged.
My friend Nirai here, who's in the chat, who's in the moderators, he grew up, I mean, he's white, he grew up poor in I'm not well, I know he's in Syracuse now, but You know, he grew up in a poor part of New York City as a white kid, surrounded by other impoverished black kids.
Yeah.
And so, you know, where was his white privilege? Now, you know, he's built himself up from the ground, and you know, he has a good business now and whatnot. But still, like,
Well, that's his white privilege right there. See.
yeah,
Because he's white, he was able to get out of it. That's the argument they make. Like, I'm not joking. Like, that is what they will say. It's like, well.
no, I know. But
Can
then,
I make an off-topic comment?
Yeah, sure.
sure.
Real quick. Actually, it may not be real quick. I don't know. But I just got I was scrolling through Twitter, and I got excited. Like I've never gotten excited before. Okay. And so I will start by saying,
Some chick show you her titties.
no, it doesn't have anything to do with porn. Doesn't have anything to do with porn or sex or whatever. Okay. And so I will start off by saying, okay, if the U.S. goes to shit and then I have to like leave and migrate somewhere else, the Czech Republic is now at the top of my list.
Oh, those are my people. That's my heritage.
Right away, shot up to the top of the list, and the reason for that just happened because let's see here. When
Was this their self-defense thing, or is
yes?
this something
Okay,
else?
so the Czech Republic just passed a what it is their constitutional Second Amendment, right? So let's see here. This it says now, and I'm actually getting a boner even looking at this fucking law. Look, because if you look at this law, it might even be better than our Second Amendment. 'Cause
Whoa.
Look, here we go. All right. So the section, it reads the right to defend one's life or the life of another person with a weapon is guaranteed under the conditions laid by law.
Based. I like it.
Yeah. Because, you know, in our Second Amendment, that ours is to arm ourselves against a tyrannical government. But this one is you defend yourself, you defend someone else. Yeah, I love it. I fucking love it. And I kind of already love the Czech Republic anyway because their women are fucking hot. But this shoots it immediately at the top of the list because you know that the EU is trying to crack down on gun ownership, right? They're trying to crack down on gun ownership right now. And
Now, is the Czech Republic still in the EU, or is that somewhere else?
That's a good question.
Maybe.
Do they have the euro?
People are gonna.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, that's
Someone.
This sounds like
Phil.
a job for Google.
Yeah, no, if it's the EU, I'll definitely consider it if things get bad over here.
Well, you know, what this is actually interesting of a bigger picture here is why is it takes fucking either foreigners or other countries to show America how to be America anymore?
Yep.
Like, we get people like Milo, Sargon, Gavin, there's probably more that are not American, but they know how to America more than us.
Because I can explain exactly why. Because they've been in most cases, they're from countries that have gone through a lot of this shit. And America, like here in Cuba, even like I use this example all the time. There is a Cuban restaurant here that I frequent, right down the street from me, and the owners are first and second generation Cuban Americans. The parents the parents came from Cuba.
And yes,
so-
and by the way, yes, the Czech Republic is part of the EU.
Hmm.
So
No,
which
that's
makes
good.
this makes this even cooler because they basically told the EU to go fuck themselves.
Well, there's another one. I think it was like Malta. It's in the EU, but they have some like really interesting gun laws over there. Where like, I think you can buy machine guns there if they're like made like over like 50 years or something ago. So like, it's a decent place. Like, if things go bad here, I'll have to use my fucking passport, my fucking EU citizenship to get over there.
Mm-hmm. I fucking love it. I love it. That may have been the best news I fucking heard. So now I have an escape route. That's awesome. If this place goes to shit, obviously.
Well, you better see how hard it is to move over there.
Probably. It's probably gonna get way hard to move over there. This is probably one of those laws that could like fundamentally change the population of their fucking country
Now,
forever.
they've always been pretty, like, out of all of Europe, they've been one of the more base ones. I think it's one of the few places where you could get a like carry license in Europe without being a politician.
Hungary,
Look,
between Hungary, Poland, and Czech Republic, they've been the most base by far. And
Well, Poland, their gun laws are shit, but like,
but their immigration, oh,
There's actually, like, the EU, I mean, is basically, it's almost, the EU is almost like a fucking tyranny, really, because you basically have a couple countries in the EU that are kind of willing their shit on the rest of the European Union. Like, you have Germany, you have basically like Germany and a couple other countries that are kind of like willing their shit on everybody else, but it's like, you know, because you got a lot of countries that are like that aren't very excited to do
The Swiss are pretty base too.
yeah, but I heard they used to be more base. Like, they changed it so it's like a pain in the ass to get ammo now or something. Like, you can only have like a certain amount of rounds at your house.
at least you can get a bank
Yeah.
account.
like you.
Well, that's not even as good as it used to be either. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, 9/11 pretty much fucked that up.
well, I think it was 9/11 with that. It was, I think, like Obama fucked something up.
Yeah, you have a lot of these countries, like, and you looked at the Euro, like the soccer tournament, and you remember how there was a couple of countries that were kneeling for for the whole Black Lives Matter. I would venture to say most of these countries in the European Union were not kneeling. Most of these countries were not kneeling. I'm gonna tell you right now, Sweden wasn't kneeling. I don't think.
Has anybody even been following?
Romania, I don't think. Poland definitely wasn't.
Has
Lithuania
anyone even
wasn't.
been following the Olympics so
Not
far?
me.
No.
A little bit. I always like the Olympics. That's why I have some interest. But this one I've had less interest because it's like no fun without crowds.
But no one even on Facebook, like not even my normie friends have really been paying attention to it at all.
I'll only catch something that like if something's on the news, then I'll look at it. But otherwise, I really don't give a shit about the Olympics. Like for example, the women's soccer team lost 3-0 to Sweden, right, on the very first match, right? That excited me. I'm like, all right. One, because that Sweden soccer team. Woo,
Yeah, it's smoke show, man.
Woo, that was hot. Oh, you got a bunch of angry bull dykes going for the frickin' the U.S. women's national team, and then the Swedes are just they're so fucking sexy.
Embrace tradition, reject modernity. Though, because I actually, it's like the one sports thing I like because it's different and it has sports I like, and that's why I've always liked the Olympics. And it's more exclusive because it doesn't happen every fucking day. It's every 2 years or every 4 years, and for each one. But I just, and it's also more patriotic. You're rooting for your country rather than this state or that fucking city. I've always liked that. I think it's a good thing. But this, I'm not gonna stand for the anthem shit. all this crap in our soccer team is a bunch of, you know, feminists. That shit pisses me off. And we had today apparently was the first time we didn't win any medals as a country on the opening day since 1972.
That's okay. We'll make up some new fucking sports so we can get some gold medals.
Yeah, probably some feminist sports or some, you know, involving trannies.
It's going to be very interesting because the one thing I can tell you guys is that, believe it or not, that this podcast actually does have a few international listeners.
Let's go.
And even like some of the more, I mean, I don't want to call them leftist people, but you know, like, I guess they're more
Center?
like, yeah, I mean, they would kind of consider themselves socialist, but they're more, I guess, centered.
That's not very center if they're socialist.
Well, I mean,
but
well,
internationally
yes,
speaking, yeah, I guess
what
so.
what I'm saying though is like social justice really did, at least the way the SJWs have done it here, really doesn't exist in Europe.
I think the UK's pretty bad.
Yeah,
with
the
that.
UK's pretty cocked. Their soccer team keeps kneeling.
Yeah,
They blamed on
they
racism
made a
when they got
statement.
berated online.
The English FA put out a statement and they were like, "Oh, we are kneeling for racial blah 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 blah." Like that came right from the. They made they were so cucked. They made a statement about it. Like
Like UPUA.
Okay, well, I had this Dutch guy that like
Did he give you a Dutch oven?
Oh no.
no.
you had to go there.
Yeah.
Dude,
No,
there used to be this fucking restaurant called the Dutch Oven, and it failed because no one wanted to go eat at a place that tastes like shit.
Well, speaking of restaurants, what was the end of your Cuban story, Sam?
Oh, so what I was gonna say is the Cuban, you know, the people who own the Cuban restaurant by my house, like they, you know, like they know from firsthand experience like why communism sucks, you know, because the parents had to flee there.
Yeah.
And so, I actually saw one time one of these college kids came in like wearing like a Che Guevara shirt, and the owner like flipped a gasket and told him to get the fuck out of the shop, and he fucking did, because the guy was like, I think the owner was gonna chase him out or something if he didn't. But like that's my point, is like immigrants from other countries, especially communist countries, know how bad shit can get here, and like even we don't really know how bad it can get, you know.
So we've never really had any big suffering since the Great Depression, really. And we haven't had suffering under communism or dictators.
Not really.
And
Yeah, I mean, the closest thing may have been like 9/11, but even then, that was only a pretty small subset of people actually like hit.
yeah. And the thing too is, I am, as much as I am a strong immigration hawk and think we should limit it across the board and completely get rid of illegal, of course, and support them, and limit legal big time, at the same time, when I see these, you know, and you can say it's the cream of the crop, whatever, but on the campaign I see like these base like fucking Kenyans and Africans come over, they're like super Christian, super pro-Trump, and you get some of these Cubans that are that way too, that love this country more than the fucking white liberal or leftist women that have been here for generations. I'm like, what is it? Like,
First generation will generally love the country they moved to because they did it.
yeah.
Their kids,
Mm.
you know, that's when you start to have the issues.
Because they technically, with their kids, they assimilate more, which is good. But then they start veering into different political paths.
I mean, from what I can tell you from personal experience, like first and second gen Cubans are pretty good from what I can tell. But from what my base Cuban friends have told me, the problem is with third and fourth generation.
That's interesting.
The one the ones who have been, the ones who have basically lived here for so long that, you know,
Well, they
they don't
stop
have,
identifying as Cuban. They start identifying as Hispanic American.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of block, and I think that's what becomes the issue. They
Dude,
forget their roots.
dude, it's actually, I shouldn't say it's funny, but it is kind of funny because uh, Cubans hate when you call them Hispanic because, I mean,
What about if you say Latino?
they, I mean, sure, I guess if you need to do it for like legal stuff, but they really just, they are kind of prejudiced against like other Latinos.
Yeah, sounds like the Asians to me.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like that. So,
Like, I had a Cuban friend who got in a fight with this like Indian guy because over like an argument about are Indian people Asian?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they're a fun bunch of people.
I see that shit's just so silly to me. It's like,
Well,
yeah.
you won't understand, we're white Americans.
Yeah, but we don't go, oh, you're Irish. Oh, you're German. You ain't white.
we used to back in the 50s.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well I know, that's the thing, like people talk about racial homogeny and I'm like, you know, I didn't really have that a lot of times in history, even amongst white people. You know, look at how much the fucking, like the Italians when they came to America, they were in their own little group and formed the fucking Italian mob. And then you had people saying that the Irish weren't white or the Italians weren't white, like...
The Irish were called the white, N-words.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I said the same thing with the Polish.
I was
I've
gonna
heard a lot of
say.
these.
Yeah, the Polish are another great example. It's just, I mean, I don't buy into the whole racial homogeny thing for shit like this. And really, I think you need to be united under either a similar faith and similar same nationality, of course, and same language. Those to me are more important than anything else. Do you speak the same language and do you basically practice similar faith?
Speaking of united, let me ask you this one, Sean, because obviously you have quite a bit of work with campaigns and within party and stuff like that. So I trust your answers and therefore judgment. So obviously we know you probably know about the whole Jenna Ellis, Ronna McDaniel or Romney McDaniel situation.
I know, like when it was starting. Can you give me a quick TLDR just so that I make sure I have everything? Because I do know some of it. They're basically a civil war between each other.
Right. So during the election integrity protest by the Trump campaign, the RNC basically, they said that they were going to support him and they used Trump's name to fundraise, but they didn't really, they kept themselves basically distant to the Trump campaign.
And I think that's what Jenna Ellis was saying, is that she was claiming that they did nothing to stop the steal and they're just using Trump's name.
Correct.
Okay.
And they were doing it, and they were basically doing it for fundraising reasons because, well, winners tend to not fundraise as much money as losers do. So,
right.
So this whole thing was basically a ploy for the RNC, and it ended up working for the RNC because I think they gained more donations in these last 6 months than maybe any time, arguably ever. So it's like, so yeah, Jenna Ellis is basically saying, oh, I'm not going to be a part of the Republican Party until Ronna McDaniel goes or whatever. But like, so what would be your take on it? Because I mean, it's tough. It's a tough one to navigate because
we don't really know a lot about it.
Well, I mean, even if that's the main thing, like, let's just say, obviously, you have to be skeptical if there's more, like, with there being possibly more shit that neither side's telling you, but
yeah.
But let's just say hypothetically that everything that Jen is saying is accurate. Like, what's your take? Because it's like they're asking you to donate to the RNC, so it's like, well, do you just donate to the RNC, or do you? I've always felt like if you like a candidate, give to that candidacy, not the RNC in general. Like, what do you think? What do you think? Because, like, I mean.
Well, I will say this as a disclaimer: I am still technically under an NDA with the RNC for a year.
Never mind. Forget that.
But
okay,
I can still give some take on it. I still can. I'll tell you this. I need to suicide myself. Not real life, in the game.
Oh, see, that's how you get out of that NDA.
That is one way.
The secret trip they don't want you to know about, how to get out of any NDA.
That's a
Jeffrey
loophole.
Epstein over here. Holy shit.
That's the Epstein loophole. But I will tell you, like, what happened so that you can get a little insight. That's what I can say. I can't give my opinion because I know the RNC would love to sue somebody if they said something bad about the RNC. I understand why. That's what companies and brands do. So, just going to leave it at that. But from my experience, when the election ended, we were kind of like, okay, well, what do we do now? You know, there's people like me, they're like, oh my god, we don't have to knock any more doors? Oh, this is weird. What are we going to do with our lives? It's just crazy. I can actually relax. And we kind of just sat through in limbo for a little bit because we didn't know what the fuck to think. And, you know, Trump was saying that it was stolen, it wasn't fair, and we had just people all across the campaign had their suspicions on the election, one way or the other. Even though we were told the mail-ins are safe, and we were told to push the mail-ins and get people to do mail-ins if they couldn't go in person. That's what we were told. And, you know, I told volunteers this, so this is not like secret info, but when we started realizing that we gotta stop the steal, I was asked by my boss, hey, can you stay on longer? I said, absolutely. I'm in this till the end. I said, okay, cool. And so about after that first week where we kind of just were, I don't know if it was the first week, it was the first few days. Yeah, I think it was the first week. We were, I think, all at home. I didn't go into the office for, I went, I think, the day after and a few more days. And we didn't really have much to do, but they finally were starting to tell us, okay, here are some names to call to make sure that their ballots were done right, or that they did mail-ins. I think we were trying to verify if people did mail-ins. I know I personally, at the office we had in Lancaster, there were people calling in saying, oh, I got a mail-in ballot, an extra ballot. Oh, my vote didn't count. All this kind of stuff. And I was addressing that and trying to get to the bottom of things. So there's the personal end of action where I just was trying to get to the bottom of things from calls we got into the office and other things. I don't know if, I mean, I think all orders come from the top, which is the White House, or which is then the RNC, kind of. Like, it's kind of weird how they work, where we kind of get orders from the White House, but we kind of more or less get them from the RNC, because that's technically who I was employed under. And I assume it came from the top of the RNC, which was telling people to call through these lists to make sure that they voted properly, whatever it was. That was what they told us to do. And I did do that. I did it multiple times, and everybody else was told to do, but not everybody actually did it. But they were kind of pushing it, even though people were kind of done with things. And there were people that went down to Philadelphia to, because the votes were still being counted. That's another thing to keep in mind. The votes are still being counted, so they sent people down to Philly. I know my boss went down there, and I don't know what all happened down there, to be honest. I know they were helping with the count and making sure it was done properly, is from what I understand. Again, I assume this came from the top, but I don't really know. Because there's the tippy top, which is Romney McDaniel, and then there's the person that runs the state. And I don't know who it was coming from. I know the person that ran from the state was giving some orders, but I don't know if her orders came from Romney McDaniel. And
So what does Ronnie McDaniel have to do with anything?
well, what she has to do is that she's the head of the RNC. And there are lots of people that want her gone because she's viewed as establishment. And there are a lot of people that want to keep her because she runs the show and let's not rock the boat right now. And Jen Ellis is one of the ones that wants her gone because they think she didn't stop the steal or work to do it and kind of just use Trump's name for fundraising. I just told you what happened with us, which was throughout November. I don't remember the exact timeline. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks after the election. I don't remember specifically. I went on for as long as I could, and even afterwards I did stuff, and my personal time helped stop the steal, but I was very limited because I didn't have a car, but I was still making the call, still trying to help people out, still trying to get people connected. I was still getting volunteers calling me. So that's the best answer I can give for now. When my NDA's up, I can give my full opinion, but that is just what happened. And I don't know a lot even at my level. I don't have the emails anymore. I have texts, but I think a lot of the all of our orders came from the person that ran the campaign at the state, from the RNC. And I think that's what everything Stop the Steal related came from. But I don't know if she made those decisions personally or if the RNC told her or if the White House told her. White House being Trump and his people, mostly his people. So that's the best answer I can give. I know it's kind of long-winded, but that's what I can kind of say.
Okay.
And the only other thing I can say is that Trump has complained about his name being used for fundraising. He doesn't like that.
Yeah, that was one of those things, and yeah. And they raised a lot of money. Like the RNC raised a lot of money from that point until now. They've raised that there was one report saying they've raised more money in that time than at any 6-month period in American history, basically. Like,
yeah, I understand people's concerns. I will say that I understand it.
Yeah. So.
Because let's be real, these campaigns, I know this from what I saw, they're expensive. It's a lot of manpower. It's a lot of resources. I mean, it's a lot of shit. And some would say the ground game isn't effective. I know it's effective. I don't know how effective because of the results. I don't believe them. So I can tell you, though, that I personally registered 100 new voters, 100 new people, and I bet all of them, if not at the very least almost all of them, voted this election for Trump. And that's just in one county and one person. So we do make a difference. But in the Stop the Steal stuff, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I don't have numbers to tell anybody what we did or didn't do, how much of a dent, what it was for. I don't know. I could give my opinion in a year. But just from what I saw, we were basically at my level making phone calls and helping people out on a personal level, or people coming into the office. People above me, I know, went to Philly, went to other counties, and I don't know on what accord that was, and then they eventually went down to Georgia. So that's the best I can say.
I
I know
mean,
it's not
honestly,
pretty clear and it's not very simple, but that's the best I can say.
yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, I know people aren't gonna like to hear this, but I think at this point, the stop the steal thing is, I mean, I think it's, at this point, it's more important to focus on 2022 and 2024.
I don't think so, because you can't get to 2022. You're not going to win 2022 until you get to the bottom of 2020.
What are
there's
we,
a lot of
like,
people that don't
we
think that
talked
their
about
vote
this
counts.
before.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. What, even if, let's say, we do find evidence of voter fraud, significant, that would have changed the results of the election. What do we do at that point?
Well, you pass new legislation.
That's the only thing you practically can do. It's just the crazy thing is, and we had a long sort of, what if scenario on this, is like, Trump.
There is
what
no
if you
legal
find out Trump's your
mechanism.
president? Yeah, there's no legal mechanism to reinstate a president if you find out the election was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That is craziness. Because imagine MSNBC reporting, because they'd have to. Trump actually won Arizona. Trump actually won Michigan. In Pennsylvania. Oh my God, he's actually president, but he's not.
Yeah. And you hear what's going on with the
Arizona, yeah, dude.
Yeah, people are just like not doing their own fucking job now. Is that what's going on?
Like they're trying to get the main thing is like they went through the audit of most of the ballots and stuff, and they found a whole lot of inconsistencies
that they're looking into now.
They were trying to get a hold of the router, and that's where they're getting the biggest pushback.
Yeah, what's the issue with giving people these things? Like, unless there's fraud going on, why would you want to hide this?
That is exactly well, I mean, anybody who knows how routers work is telling you something fishy's going on, because they're saying, oh, well, we use those routers for other things as well, and therefore it's a security. There's a security risk.
No, there's not. You change the fucking password. People can figure out what router you're using pretty easily.
Yeah,
exactly. You and I know this. Like, and there's no real information beyond like the log. Like it's basically a big log book. You know,
what are they gonna do? Delete votes? You can't do that from a fucking router.
No, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to see if these things access to other routers.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do, and that's what they don't want. Like that's what the Democrat base does not want. So
well, and the two other things are, and I've heard this multiple times from people that either were on the ground in Arizona or knew people involved in the process and are getting leaked some info, is apparently there are a lot of ballots that were mail-in ballots that were not folded, that have no fold marks, no creases. And the most damning evidence, this is actual evidence that was shown, Tucker talked about, he had the best, he came around this one. He was kind of like not touching the voter fraud stuff for a while, but he came around in this segment where he talked about and showed the video where they found ballots that were duplicates. I think it was in Georgia. Yes, it was in Fulton County, Georgia. Duplicate ballots. Why are they? Why? Because they would show that the way that the dots were filled was identical, and it looks like it's a hand doing it. You know, it's not a perfect circle. It's just like a little blob, and it's the same blob on all of them. And there's like many ballots they found this way. What the fuck is that about? You don't even look. Could change the election. Who the fuck knows? The point is, this is fucking crazy that this is here. It doesn't make sense. And in Arizona, like I said, they're supposedly finding ballots that didn't have crease marks that were mail-ins. They need to be creased if they're to be fucking mailed. And apparently, like, Navarro is saying that there's at least 10,000 fraudulent ballots in Maricopa County alone. Trump wins at that point. So I think these audits, these are a big deal. I don't care what anybody says. They might be getting a little overhyped. Who knows? They're a big deal because you see how they're trying to stop them. It's a big deal.
Yeah, you know, of all the stupid shit the government wastes money on, you know, I'd rather the government waste money on, like, looking into this shit than, you know, funding weird, like, lesbian studies on fucking overweightness.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you see in Georgia, there's clear evidence that there were ballots that were copies. You gotta look into that. There's no excuse. Because that doesn't happen unless they're fucking somebody's copying the ballots. You know? And that's why, you know, and I understand the sentiment that we want to move on. I get that. But the problem is we can't move on until we get to the bottom of the last election. Which it shouldn't have to be that way, but unfortunately that is. Because you have, first of all, if you believe it's a rigged system, it's going to be rigged. We're not even going to win if it's, you know, rigged against us. And number two is, there are going to be people, you know, maybe this happened in Georgia, maybe it didn't, but this time around, definitely, there's going to be a significant chunk of voters who aren't going to bother voting because they think their vote's not going to count.
Now, I heard in PA that they were like, that some senator got some sort of thing passed where they're going to do something now.
Yeah.
They're trying to, but they're getting pushed back, and what they're doing. So there's a lot of like, this is kind of shady too. So they're saying that if whatever any machine that gets audited basically can't be used again. So then that means that they have to buy another voting machine.
How?
So,
Why? How? How does that make sense? Like, what are they doing to audit these? Are they like breaking it open or something, or what's the issue?
I mean, it's they're basically going in because they say that the security could be compromised.
Dude, you can compromise them pretty fucking easily beforehand.
Well, they can be
too.
compromised. Yeah, they should be used these to begin with, but like, fuck. Go back
Make
to
them
paper
so
then.
make them so they're open source.
Yes.
Open source.
No. I don't. Open source voting machines? Are you fucking kidding me?
No,
That's
absolutely. It's already easy enough to hack them as it is.
No,
What
they
difference
need,
would it make?
they need closed system. If anything.
Well, well, also part of the pushback was that, like, when I tried to get those machines and they tried to audit the voting systems, that these voting systems companies were countersuing and basically saying, "Oh, you're infringing on our proprietary right, like, or our proprietary."
Well, then we need to go and stop you. Like, definitely for the next election, I'd go and ban using any voting machine that can't be audited and is not open source. I think that's an easy
that's
step
not going to
forward.
happen, right? Because it's like I said in previous freaking podcasts, it's like both sides have establishment classes that are doing this shit.
Oh no,
Both
I
sides.
get that too.
Do
No,
I-
I get that too, but I still think, you know, like, something needs to be done about this, and I think there's enough will right now for this
Because
sort of shit.
I stick to the golden rule of politics, right? Which is that if one side is doing some shady, the other side is doing it too. Right?
Yep.
That is the golden rule, right? So for me, it's like if Dominion voting systems is shady, odds are ES&S is shady too. Like,
Well, and what's interesting too is, you know, I'm surprised the Democrats actually haven't like counter the Republicans like, okay, well, we'll audit your elections. They haven't even done that. You know, they haven't said like, oh, we're gonna audit Texas.
they did try to go after Trump when Trump beat Hillary. Like,
That is true, they did, and they actually found more votes for Trump
yeah.
in some states. Yeah, but it's wild. It's wild what's happening with those audits, and you ain't gonna see the end of this for quite a while. Like, even the Maricopa one, what people have, you know, been saying in some circles I've seen is that it's not gonna be the audit that's gonna be the big deal. Like, oh, have some shit. It's the canvas, and what they mean by that is what they're gonna do on the canvas, which is kind of, you know, like a political canvas, but slightly different, kind of more like a census canvas, is they're literally gonna go, okay, this ballot is supposedly a dead person. It's John Smith. He lives at 123 Street. And they go to 123 Street and they go, okay, does John Smith live here? No, this is Colonel Sanders. Okay. Yeah, there's some shade here. This person's probably dead. This is bullshit. They might do it to all of them. I don't know how they would do this. They'd probably narrow it down some way, but that is going to be a big deal too. That was something that Crowder was doing, I know too. When he was finding dead people, he was basically doing a canvas, and that is going to be another big part of this, is when they go around, go door to door, seeing if these people live at these addresses, and that's where you'll find the dead people voting, the people that are voting from out of state or that didn't change addresses, because that's something weird that happens too. You know, like, and every state's different. That's part of the problem, part of the good thing in some ways. Like,
well, see,
I mean,
think
if
they
you
need to
try to
make
even find somebody's voter reg, you know, I'll say this real quick, in Nevada, it's like a million times harder than PA publicly. PA, you just need like first name, last name, birth date, zip code, county. Nevada, you need like social security number and all this other shit. I'm like, damn. You were saying,
Well,
Alex? We
that-
should go take A, by the way.
Yeah, let me grab this first.
Okay.
I think that, oh shit, they're coming with the helicopters. I think what we need to go and do is, like, I think canvassing should be done after every fucking election, no matter who won or
We should
lost.
probably wrap this
And I-
soon up here too soon.
And I think that they should make it easier for when you move, like, all your shit gets moved too.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
because, like, right now, like, it's a pain in the ass to get your, like everything switched over. We have technology now. We should be able to do this with, like, a fucking click of a button. When you buy a new house, like, have your mailbox changed, have your voter registration changed, your driver's license shit updated. Because, like, right now I do each of those separately, and a lot of those are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I agree with saying, like, yeah, it's getting kind of late, but no, I've always been frustrated with just how, I mean, it's not just the government, but so many things are so backwards and slow. It just makes no sense when you have so many, oh, this helicopter's really coming after us. When you just have so many, you know, technologies today. Like, one thing that I'm glad's finally happening, I know this is a small thing, but with COVID, it took restaurants and all these other businesses so long to adopt some basic things. Like, I mean, work from home is probably one of the obvious ones, but how fucking long did it take them? It took a pandemic for them to catch up on something that's not, I mean, there's a lot to it in terms of building your company's infrastructure, but it's not like they don't have something there to begin with. A lot of them were able to quickly flick the switch. A lot of them weren't. Some had to quickly scramble, but a lot of them could. It's like, you know, it's kind of frustrating how it takes like either a terrorist attack or a pandemic for shit to actually get innovated, or a war.
Well, that's the way things goes. You get fucking boomers out there who are in charge of these companies, and they screw things over a lot.
Yeah.
I think we should end with one last story, and it'll probably be a quick one. So, actor, and I do mean this term very, very, very loosely. Actor Sean Penn demands full vaccination for crew members before finishing his new show.
Oh god.
Yeah.
This is so annoying, these people that, like, they first go from, like, you need to wear a mask, you need to get vaccinated. Like, what's next?
So yeah.
To be fair though, Sean Penn has always he's always been one of these morons.
Oh,
though,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I'm honestly hoping that these people still don't get vaccinated, because I never want to see Sean Penn in any movies, shows, anything that involves any kind of screen. I don't want to see his fucking face again. So please, if you're listening, co-workers of Sean Penn, do not get vaccinated.
Yes.
No, I get that. Real quick too, I found like another like little interesting tidbit.
The clubhouse
So
leak?
No, another scam. Well, I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So apparently, what's going on now, the latest scam is with these fucking master degree programs.
Oh no.
Apparently,
That was already
like,
a scam, by the way, but okay.
well, no, like it's even like worse now because apparently they'll team up with these these non-profit schools, you know, like these big ass schools. They're gonna pay these like scam companies for these certificate degrees. They'll cost like 30 grand for you to go and get these master's degrees. There's all these like bullshit online classes. Like I think Harvard and Yale have some online degree program like that. It's a straight fucking scam. And the thing is, with master's degrees, there's no limit to how much money you can federally borrow with it. Like with bachelor's, there is, but with masters, you could go like 200 grand in debt before they stop you.
Wow.
I have an idea for a college. I have an idea for a college program, which is to fund hookers for.
Get a master's degree in pole dancing.
Yeah,
Master's degree in baiting.
we're gonna.
No, bro.
We should.
No, for all you nerds in college, specifically you political nerds, funded pussy by the government. Young Democrats, young Republicans.
State-sanctioned
Give the
pussy.
young people pussy. Yeah,
It's like a
state-sanctioned
fucking
pussy, man.
incel.
I think in Amsterdam, they
course.
actually like part of they fund like sex for like the disabled.
I've
yeah.
heard about that.
Yeah.
Sam,
that?
you
No.
know where to move now.
Wrong with that?
I cannot.
That's literally what my job is on this podcast.
Look, I wonder how good it is though. It's probably like the Sandpaper Sally shit. Like, you
Ugh.
know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, look, we could have regulations in place here.
Yeah.
We could shift focus from all this other bullshit.
It's not going to be the
I'm about
high
to be
end.
rambling.
It's not going to be
Yeah.
the It's not going to be the top shelf red line district.
Well, how do you really?
hold on.
How do you determine those things? You have like a pussy inspector come over?
Well, hold on. I was actually just thinking
It's a
about
good
this
job
in
to
like in
have.
sort of a socialistic sort of a sort of way where you take the like, you know, sort of the OnlyFans and all this stupid horse shit that all these women are doing, and you make it focused. So, you know, there's men, there's women in college. Some of them are gay, some of them are straight. They are attracted to people in that college they go to. They can then talk to someone like an army recruiter or some sort of
Army
liaison.
recruiter.
You know, to liaison to the government who can contact.
Imagine them setting up like at the
Contact
hub, like a
attraction, be
recruitment
like, hey,
table for
look,
this.
Look,
What
you
for the
can-
sexual services?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. We're talking bribing students on an individual level, on a state funded, government funded, you know, federally funded by our taxes.
Dude,
Or
if I
we
was a
could,
freshman, you wouldn't need to
keep
bribe me
paying
to
for
do
shitty
that.
roads. Look, there's a 4 in your class, Sean, that really wants to fuck you.
Oh,
no,
I've
we
actually
will-
had that
we will-
before.
no.
You're not joking.
Yeah, they had
Right,
this
but hold
fat
on,
one,
hold on. If you had someone telling you that you would receive compensation, I don't know exactly how that would pan out. We could work that out in legislation.
What's your definition of a whore?
Well, right. I
Wait, so
don't
you
know.
get paid to have sex with some stupid whore? That's
Yeah.
not too bad.
I
that's what
might
I'm
turn
saying.
it down. I actually might turn it down. It
Sure,
might be a
and
bribe.
you would have the right to. You would have the right to.
Okay.
And then the incel tag would really mean something, because there's no reason. You could literally just, I mean,
Put a price on it.
There would have to be
There'd
some
be-
kind of scale.
Yeah, there'd be no
Sure.
more incels because
Yeah.
you know anyone could have sex.
Alex, you can't fly.
Oh fuck! What the fuck am I doing?
No, but see, the rule is it's not just a pussy fund for everybody, a pussy/dick fund. It's
Oh.
you have to go to college. It's literally just a college thing. So
Wait, why would we make people
that-
go to college for this? We have enough people. You have too many people going to college right now.
Good point.
You
Be in
gotta
a
pay
trade
the damn
school.
and pussy not to go to
Look,
college.
I think
Because
we should
colleges-
create. I think we
Go
should
ahead.
create the Sam and Apex
Pussy for
Incel
Nerds
Pussy
Foundation.
Fund. Yeah.
Yeah,
Incel
Let's
Pussy
set
for
up a
Nerds
GoFundMe page with it. Sam and Apex help incels get pussy fund.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm down with that.
Well, see, what they would probably end up doing is you get the bottom of the barrel pussy with that. You get the fucking fat, like, feminist Tumblr bitch who only, like, let you do it, like,
Yeah.
missionary. She says she's a slut, but she literally does fucking, like, basic ass shit. And it's gonna be, like, obese.
I'm playing the devil's advocate here, and I'm talking about, like, communist utopia, socialist utopia, where
Say
everything
utopia.
is perfect, right? Utopia. We're talking about pussy, though, so every time you have one, it pretty much is. So
Well,
don't argue with me
well,
there.
well, in a communist utopia, we would all get those super hot Russian models that would all.
What's
Yeah, I think you're seeing the cream of the crop with that. Like, you go look back in Soviet times, things did not look so great.
Well,
Second.
sure,
But,
sure,
but again, I did not frame this with unrealistic expectations. It was like you're not pulling in porn stars or celebrities or whatever. Although, the idea of like having a pussy bank, if you don't use it.
look,
in
Well, no,
college-
you're talking about about the special needs people who get the service. What if you have it where the special needs people are the prostitutes?
Well, I was talking about you guys. You guys in college.
I mean,
So-
I'm special needs,
Everybody.
but not in that way.
Not special needs. No, not.
Well, no. But there's a discussion.
Yeah.
There. Maybe you weren't there for that, but like about how Amsterdam special needs people go to the brothels for free.
No, that's I used that as a launch pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
This whole thing.
I've read about
I'm
that.
gonna go to
Which is dope.
Amsterdam and pretend to be retarded.
It's not gonna be hard.
Hello. My name is Sam Whitfield. I have Asperger's and a huge dick.
Had two big wheels. I mean,
2 big wheels. You should see what my tail can do.
you want to see? I have a pair of big wheels and a pair of big something else. But you gotta stay to find out.
Some fucking 6'8" Aryan dude fucking lifts you up by your collar and pulls your wallet out.
Oh,
Phil,
jeez.
it's like,
Now I see why they call you the master race. Oh my god.
Hi, my name is Jeff, and
Oh,
I'm
disavow.
and I'm gonna kill myself unless I get.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Oh,
Double
yeah.
disavow. See the chat.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
no.
banning Sam from Versa from here on out.
No, I'm talking out.
He's
I'm
talking
out
about
Apex
me. He's mocking
Oh,
me.
you're Jeff too. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Jeff.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah,
Ooh,
he-
dodged the
he's-
bullet.
He's good. He's a good
He
Jeff.
just
He's
likes
not.
he does like the mom thing because he's got whatever is going on with Sammy.
What?
He's got this little mom thing that he does when
Oh.
he's upset. He calls me by my first name live on air, which he
Oh, there's
literally
some
only does
Alabama
when
shit going on.
he's trying to pull a skirt on me.
I'm not.
Sammy.
I'm not. I'm not upset. I'm not upset with you, Jeff. I just like your name.
Yeah,
So,
sure. My name is
Jeffafa?
God damn it. God
we-
damn
we-
it.
we have
it's
two.
strange.
We have two in it. What you can try and strangle me. No.
No, the Jeff of
Yeah, we should have ended the stream. You were right, Sam.
And I came in here to do that. That's why I started talking about pussy funds for the colleges.
And we ended up having way too much fun because you were that kind of guy.
You have like fucking after hours.
But yeah, we just bring over, with the immigration thing, we can bring over.
Make an OnlyFans for the after hours club.
Yes.
You know what? I might actually legit start an OnlyFans.
You have to give him your driver's license, so be warned.
You could look. You can offer. Well, I mean,
Offer rides on your wheelchair for the high
give him
donor.
give him a free naked chariot ride. Look, you gotta.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's right. I need to wear that shirt again.
Yeah. Oh my, that is fucking hilarious. That is a
Yeah,
hilarious.
I can't believe you only wore that the one time on stream.
Yeah.
You ungrateful.
Oh my God.
Bastard.
Did your parents ever find that?
Yeah, they did, and they were like,
We
Did
were
they disown
dying
you?
laughing. When we were creating this shirt, we were dying laughing. I was dying laughing when we were creating that shirt. It was so hilarious.
They were
One
like,
made the picture, I was crying all over again. I'm just letting you know.
they were like, what the hell is a naked shirt, right? I'm like, you don't want to know.
You won't understand.
I laughed so
Well,
hard, tears were
well,
coming out of
mom.
my
Well,
eyes.
It's not
hold on,
just a
mom and dad.
phase.
You realize that? Hold on. I realize, mom and dad, you might not know this, but I am in a chair. It's a wheelchair, but it is a chair. So if you could look at the image on my shirt and put a couple of pieces together.
I was gonna say, made the image pretty obvious. I'm surprised they had to ask. Unless they were doing that whole like, so what is this? You know, where they know what
they
it
like-
is, but they hope it's something
they-
else.
You pull
Yeah,
a pocket pussy out of your fucking top drawer doing your fucking socks, and they're like, how do you turn this flashlight on? What is this? Or
Do you ever
like,
see the? You ever those little toys when you were a kid? They're from like the aquarium and shit. You put your fingers in them. Dude, they're
What?
fucking pocket pussies for kids, man. They look like a fucking pocket
wait,
pussy.
wait, back up.
Whoa, time
These
the fuck
toys from the aquarium that you
Yeah, they'd have like little like fake fish and shit in them, and like I look at it now and I'm just like, holy fuck, this
What
is
are
like
you
a child-sized
talking
pocket
about?
pussy.
Dude, I meant to the
you know what?
Baltimore
I
Aquarium. What
feel-
are you talking about?
They had them in the gift shop. They're these like little jelly things. It looks like a fucking pocket pussy.
Flashlight.
I do not have a reference for it. I feel like I can imagine it because I've felt some weird squishy toys in my day,
Oh,
especially being as old as I am. But I mean, I've not been to many aquariums.
I'm
Go ahead,
sure.
I'm sorry.
Alex, send me the link,
sure.
because I am like...
Dude, I'm gonna have to go and ask my parents if they still have it. But I used to get these little fucking toys, and I swear to God, like this is way before pocket pussies. This was like back in like the late '90s, early 2000s, you know. And they weren't meant to stick your dick in. You'd have
Right,
to be like Asian size for it to fit in that shit.
Disavow.
You know, like you have a good look in your finger in it.
Yeah, you could practice finger.
angry is an inch.
And it wasn't like I mean, it had like water on it, but it wasn't in it. Like it was not meant for your pleasure. But they made these fucking kids pocket pussies back in the day that they just mislabeled them.
So what was it for, though? Like, what was the actual, like, toy? Like, what was it? I'm still confused on that.
Okay, so like imagine like a dolphin, little dolphin toy or some sort of fish, but it's like a squishy toy with like an open mouth, right? Am I
Oh, like
picturing that right?
it's like this little cylinder that's made of this like plastic, and there's like water around it, and there's this like Chinese finger trap sort of design in the middle of it.
Yeah, you
I
mean
know. Go ahead. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I
Go
still
ahead.
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Kind of
I-
aquarium is this?
I don't know what the fuck they're called, but they were basically pocket pussies for kids.
Yeah, you could squeeze. You like if you squeeze your hand hand over hand, you just keep moving the fucking thing.
Yeah.
In place. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some weird.
I know
fucking
exactly what you're
toys.
talking about.
Yeah, it's basically a pocket pussy though, but like off-labeled. You know, I don't know how well it would work,
I mean,
but it basically
yeah.
is the same aesthetic.
Should we test it out, boys?
Oh boy,
let's
we'd
send
have
it
to.
the college kids with the government funding.
Dude, you'd have to find like some real like fucking
Frat.
incel for that. No, I don't think any of this frat. Like maybe somebody did steroids.
Oh, we
Because they
know
have a-
somebody.
Dude, they'd have to have a pretty small pecker for it. I know we do know someone who would fit that bill, but
He's a little hard to reach at the moment. I'm just saying, I don't think he's the type of a small, you know what.
Oh, I thought you meant the other guy we know is a small. You know what?
No, he's
Well, look,
not
hey, hold
hard
on.
to reach.
No small dick. Don't hold on. No small dick hate. You know.
No,
Dudes have
it's
small
just
dicks, all right?
justified hate. If
Well,
I
no,
had
it
one,
is
I'd
not.
hate it.
Well, you know, like they leave more for the rest of us. You know.
Actually,
That means
okay,
you
yeah,
hate
yeah.
white. You hate white people. Then that's what you're saying. Then.
Oh, yeah, I'm progressive.
Okay.
I'm just being
Very good.
progressive.
you were in Sam Merchant's class.
I
but
knew you were gonna
uh,
say that.
Dude,
gotta
I can't
roll
believe you took that class voluntarily.
Yeah,
like
it
you
was
must really
great.
hate yourself.
No, it was,
yeah.
dude, I love being, like, in the battlefield like that. He didn't turn me anyway, I think I don't even know if I turned anybody or changed anybody's minds, but it was worth it.
Hold the
I
fuck
say-
up.
I
We were
say-
talking about pocket pussies for kids and
No, we're talking
government
about
funding
kids.
for pussy.
Shit.
Yeah,
like,
no. We're not steering back to this political shit. We're killing this fucking stream, or we're gonna be
Yeah.
funny and talk about
Okay.
things that are funny.
Next week we should start cracking on we should
Shut the
start
fuck up, Phil. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
easy Apex. I swear to God I won't be political. I swear to God I won't be political.
Go ahead, man.
Look,
I mean,
we
this.
start crack. We should all start collectively cracking on Owen Benjamin because we've never
Oh God.
all of
Drink,
us
drink,
done that.
drink,
We've never
drink.
done it together, right? We've done it a few people individually, but we've never fully invested in cracking on Owen Benjamin.
You need
And
to
I
go and
think
show me
we
what the fuck this guy's about. You need to give me the deep red pill on this first.
Yeah.
You watched the documentary on him.
Sam, you could hook us up with the deets, but yeah, we can all, because I think it would be fucking hilarious if we did it. If we all collectively put our minds to it, it would be fucking hilarious.
Do a let's play of own fucking.
Wow.
And he would absolutely, I'm betting you he would absolutely respond. 100%
One way to
chance.
gain clout.
I'm hoping so. Hell, I'm still waiting for you want to talk about nerds, Apex. I did start off the show strong by bashing Charlie Kirk, which we have more on that coming in a
Low-hanging
few
fruit
weeks
right
maybe.
there.
I hopefully we'll have more on that. There was some
I think
stuff.
Charlie Kirk would fit in one of those kid pocket pussies.
Jesus Christ. He would need
Hey,
one.
you know what, fellas? Hey, you know what? This is a hard fucking topic change, but I went with my cute-ass generic little Mexican broad
Okay.
to see Black Widow. I've not even been to the movies in 15 years. I don't care to go to the movies. I've always
And
been
you
really
picked
big
Black Widow as like your.
No.
It's not even black. That's cultural appropriation.
I know,
Calm the
right?
fuck out, boys. Can you let me shut the fuck up, Phil?
Jeez.
I'm picking you out every time because Phil's fun to say. No, it was her idea because she's
Right.
young
Feminist.
and she's all into these fucking Marvel movies and shit. And I don't give a
God.
fuck.
Happy girl, happy world.
Man, you're dating a retard.
Well, she's younger than you, so by that measure, she's. more
Oh, so she's a kid too.
Oh my God.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, how old are you?
How old are you,
No, I-
Apex? You sound a bit older.
33.
What are you doing? How old is this person? Is she like 20? Is she even able to drink?
She's
Okay.
23.
That's a
Robbing the
decade.
cradle with that one.
Does she even have a driver's license? No, I'm just playing.
Wait,
I'm
Sean,
sorry.
that's
Anyway.
right up your alley. Fucking Penn. See, I couldn't stand dating one of those people, man.
Wait, what's
It's-
up my
It's
alley?
tough. And that,
Those
guys,
Zoomers.
fellas,
Yeah,
boys,
those Zoomers.
boys, shut your fucking mouths and let me finish what I'm saying here, okay? Because you're all saying exactly what I was trying to say. 'Cause
Oh,
she's
so you
young,
dumped her.
and she's into these fucking. I don't care. I mean, I'm just trying to do something.
Dude, pussy's pussy. You know, a hole's a hole.
Yeah,
Look,
tell it to a
there
priest.
there were 4 people in the theater, and I didn't care about the movie, and I was the one watching the screen while getting head. I mean,
Oh,
There you go.
but
I've heard stories of that. I've heard worse, but nice.
but
Did you do the popcorn trick?
no, I just pulled my dick out, and she's.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
How
There
many
you
people
go.
were in
No,
this theater, and were they socially
I would-
distanced?
So,
No, there were four,
Was
no,
she
literally,
wearing a
there were
mask?
there were 4 other people in the theater. And they
Oh,
were
that's why you were able to do this.
incredibly far
Okay.
away.
Oh, wait, were they taking turns?
No, I mean, they were doing their thing. But I do have to say, for some cape shit, there was 2. I think there were 2 dudes in the whole movie.
Oh, very
One of them
feminist.
was like a slave.
Oh,
One of them was like a slave to Black Widow.
of
Scarlett
course.
Johansson's character.
So she
And
keeps
the
his
other
temper.
one was the villain. The other one was like the main villain, right? Literally every other character in the movie were females. But again, I
Colin
don't give a
Jost was
shit.
in the movie.
I really don't give a fuck about this shit.
I can
it's
smell the
a-
estrogens
it's
from the
just
TV
a
screen.
movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I have to say though, my main concern or my main complaint is the seats made the blowjob a little toothy for one,
Yeah.
and for two,
That's hot.
there were plot holes. Like if you don't watch all of them, it's not a standalone.
Oh, there were
movie.
holes. I
If you've
know.
not watched fucking every other goddamn movie, there's
Dude, that's-
points that, like what
That's
the
how
fuck
they get
happened?
you.
Oh, the-
Marvel's a scam.
Well, I would now Apex. Like I know when I was when I was younger, I would actively look like when I was taking a chick to go to the movies, I would actively look. I would actively look for the worst fucking movie in the theater. Actively, because if the movie's bad, she's.
Oh
she's
yeah, back in the
got it
day,
bad.
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Dude,
mean, that
yeah.
was like, that was a safe haven to
Yep.
get some kind of fucking some neck, or
Yeah.
if you were lucky, if it was a shit movie and if you were smart, yeah, you could maybe fucking.
I would lie. I would
finger in.
lie to her like a motherfucker too. I'd be like, I took her to like it was like the Russell Crowe. It was like the Masters of the Commander or some shit. It was like some 1700s thing that Russell Crowe did. I'm like, it was a shit movie, and I knew it was a shit movie. I'm like, yo, you got to come see this, man. It's a fucking fantastic one. It got all kinds of crazy reviews, and then we got in the theater. Well, hey, I thought it was gonna be a good movie. Whatever,
Well,
blow me. Here.
I mean, look, I may have framed it the wrong way, or I may have played it out the wrong way. I went to this movie because she was a fan, and
Yeah,
it was
sure.
something she wanted to do, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll go and watch this shitty movie, but don't be mad when I make fun of it. But I don't even know. It was 30,
It
45
escalated.
minutes into the movie that it was her idea that she's like,
Imagine being a fan of Marvel in the year 2020 plus one.
No, imagine being a fan of
she's-
Marvel and then not watching the fucking movie, doing something
That's
else.
right. That's what I was gonna say. Like she's a fan of the movie. She wanted to watch the movie, and then no, she just I mean, whatever.
Well, I heard that was a pretty shit movie, anyways.
Yeah.
Again,
I didn't hear it was
again,
this
as far as
feminist though.
Yeah,
That
That
should
tells you,
have been blown
far
up.
as-
how bad the movie was. That tells you how bad the movie was. When she's willing to basically blow you in public rather than watch the movie that she is a fan of.
Well, maybe that has more to do with how fancy my little dick is.
I mean, but I mean,
Well.
You'd like to think so.
I'm saying if she actively wanted to go see this movie, and then it was so bad that she's like, well, might as well
I mean, I think
take
she
the
was
time
just horny,
somewhere.
honestly.
Well, I mean, that could probably be it too.
And I'm gonna say, as a non-fan of the MCU, the one thing that I did notice, other than a few points of like really bad acting, and there was literally just a couple points that was like, Jesus fucking Christ, are you serious? I mean, it was overwhelmingly obvious that every fucking character in the movie is female, but they're not being. It's cape shit, dude. Like, I don't really fucking care. I don't care enough to be like, wow, why is there not more fucking men doing this shit? It's a fucking movie. It's a movie about the widows. It's a thing where they're girls that are kidnapped and made into fucking sold. They're women.
So it's
a
feminist
women-
propaganda, gotcha.
It's a fucking movie, you fucking retard. It's a fucking movie. It's a story. It doesn't. I mean, propaganda, sure. Like.
That's how they do
everything
it.
is propaganda.
Propaganda.
19
Movies are the definition of
1984 is
propaganda.
Dude, that whole series is a scam to get you to have to watch all the other ones. It's the biggest scam since fucking Cutco knives.
Okay, well, if you invest that much into your entertainment properties, yeah, it's propaganda. But if you go to watch a fucking movie, it's
Well,
a
no,
fucking movie.
No,
Who
but it's
gives
like,
a fuck? What impact does it have on your life, other than watching it or not
Because
watching
all the other movies part of the same scam, the same grift.
Money and influence on your mind. Movies,
well, that-
music, all entertainment. pretty much. I don't want to say yeah, I will say it basically
Marvel
manipulates you.
Universe is a grift scam cult.
Well, that's
Changed my mind.
That's all of Hollywood, though, essentially.
Well, no, but those in particular, because you have to watch them in like order, else you're gonna be confused. Like, oh, well, I didn't know this. Oh, you have to go and actually, you have to go and watch the Avengers and Iron Man Part 2, 3, and 4, and the Superman and all this other stupid bullshit. Versus, I just watched the fucking Joker. Might be cape shit, but it's really not.
Okay,
Well, that's
Alex,
the
hold
point
on.
of
What's
it,
the
is that
hold
it's
on.
just
What's
to
the
make as much
difference?
money
Hold
as
on.
possible.
Okay, now aside from the price difference, what's the difference between that and beyond you guys, other than Phil, who's gone now, years
Bye, Phil.
of the old comic days where crossovers started to happen, and you know, if you didn't read the most recent issue, if you read,
Dude,
or you know,
comics are scams too. I'm not saying. I'm just saying
Okay.
the movies are scams. I don't watch comics. I'm not nerds.
okay,
man.
so you could
There you
could
are.
break that all the way
You're
down.
not-
All of fucking media, all of entertainment is a scam.
No,
Almost
they're not
all.
all. They're not all.
Almost all of it. Almost all of it. You could break it down much further, depending on how cynical you want it to be, man. There's not a chord that's been played in succession to another chord that hasn't been done 100 years or
If I
500
were to
years
watch
or
a
700
one
years.
Stanley Kubrick movie and I see another one, I'm not going to be like, oh shit, I need to go and see fucking like The Shining and Full Metal Jacket to get eyes wide shut. No, I just watched that movie.
No, okay, no, I agree with that. But if they're making
like
movies into
DLC.
comic, which yes, it is. I mean, I agree, it's a scam. I walked away being like, yeah, I didn't like that movie. There were things that happened. I'd not seen the other movies. I didn't even know the fucking bitch died.
Oh,
know
I
what I
guess
mean? So
someone
then it-
probably died. I don't know who the fuck Black Widow is.
Anyway,
Scarlett Johansson, that's all you need to know.
She's not even black. That's
Scarlett's not even really. Well, I mean,
She's not even that good looking. Hot take.
she's
did you just
she's
say
still.
ScarJo?
She was hot in the day, and yes, I fucking did.
Damn it! All right,
I fucking
you know what?
did.
You will either put a bullet in this stream, or I'm leaving.
Well, the
I'm-
last thing I will say is that when my girlfriend doesn't like a movie I take her to, which is rare because I kind of know what she likes, you know what she does to me?
she farts on you.
No, she falls asleep. Not exciting, I
Oh, yeah, dude.
know.
I was gonna say she beats you, but no, that was my ex.
No, that's pleasure.
What?
not- Oh.
What?
What's
Whoa.
that?
What did I just say?
Whoa,
No,
Sammy Abuse stream coming next week. Good night, everybody.
Alrighty, folks. Thanks for tuning in to this. Whatever this
Autism
was.
streamed live on YouTube.
Or fucking listening to paint dry for most of the time, as far as I understand.
Wait, Sean, did we ever
I
throw
like-
up the Verso simulcast, or are we just doing this on Sam's?
Oh no, I started streaming it. Yeah.
Simulcast. Always simulcast.
Yeah.
Simulcast keeps running that fucking Japanese bullshit.
Alrighty, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and good night. God bless. God save the sweet nation. God, freedom of go see in the order.
Did you say Uncle Seaman?
He says
Get
it
your
so many
mind out of
times.
the
He's
gutter.
got his shit down. Like he does it just he does it with his fucking links too. Stop, Sam. We gotta guys, we gotta write Sammy a new intro and outro. Good
I
night,
agree.
everybody. God
Good
bless
night.
this great nation. And semen on your father, whatever the fuck Sammy said.
God, freedom, legacy in that order.
Just like, share,
Although-
and subscribe. That's all I gotta say.
Although Brenny
Yeah,
loves
check out the
taste,
Versa
it is
Boys.
semen.
See, we need to get a sponsor so we can have something cool at the end. Be like,
Trojan.
fucking
God,
watch
God,
that.
semen on your leg in that order.
Yeah, get cucked, play the Raid Shadow cunt.
Oh, you know what? I've actually kill the stream.
Yeah,
Please
kill it.
the stream.
Good night.
We'll talk off
Yeah,
there.
don't play that
Good night.
Raid. That's a